Chapter 2298. 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. The stars shuttled all the way from the Stormy Sea region to the Thunder Sea region. There were occasional battles along the way. Some sages of the alien races discovered the stars and immediately wanted to rob them. However, Xiaoping killed 10 immortal sages and scared off 3 near-ancient sages. As a result, the journey was smooth and no sages of the alien races dared to rob the stars anymore. During these 3 months he did not rest on the spaceship. He continued to cultivate diligently, devouring all the origin stones and 500,000 longevity pills. Such a huge accumulation of resources also made the magic power in Xiaoping's body improve by leaps and bounds. His cultivation level rose to the peak of the immortal realm in an instant. His 9 purple mansions were filled with powerful magic power. Even the power of his divine sense had increased by a level. It could be said that Xiaoping had already touched the bottleneck of a near-ancient sage. Moreover, swallowing a spatial fruit had allowed his body to crystallize by 2%. If his body could crystallize to 100%, it would be the time when he would ascend to the near-ancient saint level. This made him even more eager to get more spatial fruits. Xiaoping, we're here. We've finally reached the Thunder Sea region. At that moment, Corinne's voice sounded. Following that, the star's virtual projection turned on. The entire spaceship turned illusory, revealing the situation outside. He had just left the Stormy Sea region and entered the Thunder Sea region. He immediately sensed that every corner of this void was filled with powerful lightning power. Bang bang bang. In the void far away, there seemed to be a huge patch of dark clouds that covered hundreds of millions of kilometers. The dark clouds were dense and lightning would descend from time to time. Each purple lightning bolt was like a lightning dragon. It smashed into a star, immediately destroying it and shattering it into countless pieces of shattered rock. In this sea region, dark clouds would appear from time to time, lightning would descend from time to time, and spatial storms would appear from time to time. There was no pattern to these disasters and they were extremely dangerous. If a sage wanted to cross the sea region with their physical body, they would probably face the risk of being struck by lightning. Sometimes, billions of lightning bolts would descend and even near-ancient sages would be struck to death. As the stars flew past, even though it was extremely fast, it was struck by lightning several times. Fortunately, the stars had already been upgraded to a mid-grade sage artifact. Otherwise, it would definitely be heavily damaged. How far are we from the Thunder Continent? Xiaoping asked. About 3 more days. Corinne looked at the map and carefully calculated the distance. The Lightning Sea region is really huge. It's more than 10,000 times bigger than the Storm Sea region. Xiaoping was also amazed at the vastness of the Stormy Sea region. Along the way, the myriad stars also encountered many islands and land fragments. It was said that those were islands that surrounded the Thunder Continent, and they were scattered in the void like stars. Some of these islands were comparable to Stormy Island, and some were even larger than Stormy Island. They were at least hundreds of thousands of light years in diameter, and the area of such islands was boundless, with no end in sight. However, such a place could only be considered as a small island in the Thunder Sea region. He really didn't know how big the Thunder Continent was. Suddenly Xiaoping's heart shook. He immediately sensed the shockwaves of an intense battle occurring on a small island. The shockwaves spread out for hundreds of millions of kilometers, causing the surrounding space to shatter. The entire island was shaking and rumbling. On that nameless island, there was a team of human clan sages and a team of demon clan sages engaged in a life-and-death battle. Among the human clan sages, there were 2 near-ancient sages, one in the early near-ancient stage and one in the middle near-ancient stage. In addition, there were 10 peak immortal sages. As for the demon clan sages, there were 3 near-ancient demon sages, one in the late near-ancient stage, 2 in the middle near-ancient stage, and 13 peak immortal demon sages. It could be said that the demon clan sages had an absolute advantage and were suppressing the human clan sages. The surrounding void had been sealed by the other party, and all the space had been set up with tyrannical restrictive arrays. It was simply sealing the sky and earth. I didn't expect to encounter such an intense battle just after entering the Thunder Sea region. Moreover, it's a battle between the human clan and the demon clan. Xiaoping could not help but feel that his luck was indeed good. However, this was not a matter of luck. Perhaps the battle within the Thunder Sea region was far more intense than that of the Stormy Sea region, and the sages were also more powerful. In the Stormy Sea region, there might not be a single near-ancient demon sage for thousands of years. However, after coming to the Stormy Sea region, even near-ancient demon sages were not rare and could be seen everywhere. One could imagine that the Thunder Sea region sages were much more powerful than the Stormy Sea region. They were not on the same level. At this moment, Xiaoping's universe virtual system immediately sent a series of messages. Calling for help, calling for help. I am Yunyang Sage. I am being attacked by 3 near ancient demon sages from the Sky Wolf clan. I have been ambushed by the demon clan and the situation is critical. Many immortal sages are already heavily injured. I hope that the human clan alliance nearby will receive our distress signal and send reinforcements immediately. We can't hold on for too long. I hope that our allies can send reinforcements on account that we are all humans. Such a distress signal was quickly transmitted to Xiaoping's communication device. Such a distress signal was actually spread out in all directions with Yunyang Sage as the center. It was estimated that the human clan and the human clan alliance within a radius of billions of light years would receive such a message. As the human clan had the universe virtual network, the distress signal was sent out even faster. It was almost instantaneous. If there were any human clan alliance nearby, they would come forward to help. This was also the reason why the human clan had such a huge advantage in the mystic zones. Once a distress signal was sent, the human sages from all directions would gather. Their speed was many times faster than the other races. Unfortunately, Xiaoping looked at the virtual map. It showed the location of the human clan alliance. Some of the stronger human sages were too far away from Yunyang Sage. They would not be able to rush over in a short period of time. Even if some of them could rush over, they would only be immortal sages. They would not be able to help at all and would only be sending themselves to their deaths. Therefore, even if Yunyang Sage kept calling for help, he would not be able to find any sages to help in a short period of time. Within a radius of millions of light years, he was probably the only one who had the strength to help. Interesting. This is the first battle in the Thunder Sea region. God is kind to me. If I can kill these demon sages, I will definitely be able to obtain a lot of points. At the same time, I can also devour the corpses of the 3 near ancient demon sages and refine the space fruit. This will be extremely beneficial to my understanding of the space law. Xiaoping's eyes flashed coldly. He had already seen these demon sages as sitting ducks. Whoosh. At the thought of this, he did not hesitate and immediately flew out of the myriad stars towards Yunyang Sage and the others. Chapter 2299. Above the Nameless Island. The human race sages and the demon race sages collided in midair. Every time they collided, an earth-shattering sound would erupt, destroying the area within a radius of hundreds of kilometers. Along the way, the sound waves surged, almost raising the area within a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers to the ground. However, the human race sages were no match for them and retreated as they fought. Damn it, we've been tricked this time. Who was the one who said that there might be a source stone mine on this island? We didn't even see the source stone when we came to this place. Instead, we fell into the trap of the demon race sages and were ambushed by them. The human race sages gritted their teeth, their expressions extremely ugly. Originally, they had come to this place because they had received news that someone had found a small source stone mine on this island. It was priceless. Immediately, the sages were extremely excited because if they could take this small source stone mine for themselves, they would become rich overnight. They would not need to worry about cultivation resources for hundreds of millions of years. How could they resist such wealth? They immediately formed a team and headed to this island. However, they did not expect that this was fake news. The demon sages had deliberately released it to lure the human race sages out and kill them. They had fallen into the demon race's trap. It's useless to say all this now. It's all our fault for being greedy and falling into the other party's trap. I didn't expect to be ambushed by 3 near ancient demon sages. We were caught off guard. By the way, have we sent out the distress signal? Are there any human reinforcements nearby? We can't hold on for much longer. If this continues, I'm afraid we will all be wiped out. We've already sent it out, but there are no human reinforcements nearby. Even if there are, their strength is only at the sempiternal realm. They will only be sending themselves to their deaths if they come here. They won't be able to save us at all. Damn it, this nameless island was probably also deliberately chosen by the demon sages. They knew that there are no human forces nearby and that it is a remote place. Even if we ask for help, the human race sages will not be able to quickly send help. The sages gritted their teeth. They also knew that they were in trouble this time. The other party had deliberately set up a trap for them to fall into. How could they let them go so easily? Now that the void of hundreds of millions of kilometers had been sealed by the 3 near ancient demon sages, they had no way to escape. If their team's 2 near ancient saints were defeated, then that would be the time of their deaths. Haha, foolish humans, just surrender. We've deliberately set up this trap. How could we let you escape so easily? This time you have nowhere to run. That's right. Surrendering is your only way out. If you surrender now, you can still be imprisoned in our demon clan's prison as prisoners. There's still a chance that you can be rescued in the future. Otherwise you will die today. We have 3 near-ancient saints here. We have the absolute advantage in terms of strength. No matter how you struggle, you won't be able to escape from us. You won't stand a chance. The demonic saints let out a loud roar, and the sound waves surged, constantly persuading the human saints to surrender. They were full of charm. They were using psychological attacks to weaken the human saints' resistance. After all, even a rabbit would bite when it was anxious, let alone a sage. If these human race saints were forced into a desperate situation, they might self-destruct and perish together with them. This would also cause serious losses to them. However, if they could weaken the enemy's will with just a few words, they didn't need to weaken it too much. As long as there was a moment of hesitation, they would seize the opportunity and kill these human race saints. As for being imprisoned in the demon clan's prison, it was naturally possible. However, if they wanted to escape, these saints would probably not be able to do so for the rest of their lives. They would be imprisoned until they died. It was just like how the demonic saints were imprisoned in the demon-subduing pagoda. In your dreams. You want us to surrender? Not in this lifetime. Damn demon clan. It's just death. Do you think you can scare us? Don't even think about it. Our human clan's reinforcements will arrive soon. When that time comes, none of you will be able to escape. If you know what's good for you, run now. Otherwise, you won't be able to run even if you want to. Our human clan's army is already on the way. They will arrive soon. You won't have a chance. These human race saints were all sly old foxes. How could they be fooled so easily? They all retorted sarcastically and persuaded the demonic saints to hurry up and run, lest they made a mistake. After all, if they fell into the hands of the demon clan, no human would have a good ending. Therefore, they would rather die than fall into the hands of the demon clan. You won't shed a tear until you see your coffin. Since you are so stubborn, don't blame us for being rude. Hearing this, the eyes of the 3 demonic saints flashed coldly. They knew that if they did not give these human race saints a fatal threat, these human race saints would not surrender. Moreover, the words of these saints had indeed hit the nail on the head. The most terrifying ability of the human clan was their omnipresent reinforcements. They could call for help at any time and would gang up on others. This gave many races a headache, and they did not dare to provoke them easily. If they beat up the young, the old would come. If they beat up one, a group would come. It was very annoying. Therefore, they had to end the battle quickly. Otherwise, they would not know what experts from the human clan would come to help them. At the thought of this, they felt that they had to use all their trump cards and kill these human race saints completely. Meanwhile, Yunyang Saint and the other human race saints looked grave. They could also sense the murderous intent coming from these demonic saints. They were just bragging earlier on. In reality, there were no reinforcements at all. However, the threat of these demonic saints was real. If these demonic saints went all out, many of them would probably die. Whoosh. At this moment, a figure descended from the void and instantly arrived at the center of the battlefield. This aura shocked the saints of both the human clan and the demon clan. Ah, we're saved. We're finally saved. Our human clan has reinforcements. I've already told you demonic saints that our human clan reinforcements will arrive soon. Let's see if you can survive this time. It's too late for you to run now. It's too late. Do you know that? Just wait for your death, you demonic saints. Seeing this figure arrive, Yunyang Saint and the others were excited. They felt that an expert had arrived. In fact, there did not need to be many experts. Just the appearance of a near-ancient sage would be enough. This way they would be on par with the strength of the demonic saints. Even if they could not defeat the other party, they would be able to delay them to a certain extent. This way they could wait for more human clan reinforcements to arrive. It could be said that this was a stimulant that could change the situation of the battle. What? When the demonic saints saw this figure, they looked as if they had eaten shit. Their faces were extremely ugly. How is this possible? Didn't they say that there were no near-ancient sages of the human clan in the vicinity? Could it be that there was an error in the information? What is going on? One demonic saint gritted his teeth. Chapter 2300. It would have been better if Xiaoping hadn't appeared. Once he did, everyone was stunned. Sui understanding. Fuck, this is a scam. How can it be an undying saint? Yunyang Sage and the rest were dumbfounded as they looked at Xiaoping, who suddenly appeared. They could clearly sense that the aura from this figure was only at the sempiternal realm. Impossible. Could it be that this guy is hiding his cultivation? Could it be that he is not at the sempiternal realm but near ancient realm? Some undying saints were unwilling to accept this fact. They felt that the other party might be a near ancient realm saint. Bullshit. I can't sense his aura. He has not comprehended the space law, nor has he formed a space domain. At most, he is a late sempiternal saint. It's over, it's really over. I thought we had reinforcements, but it's a trap. What's going on? It's just an undying saint. How can he have the guts to come help? Is he not afraid of death? What a waste of time. We are completely dead. Yunyang Sage and the rest were all pale. They thought that the saints who came to help would at least be near ancient saints. Only then would they have a chance of survival. Moreover, they had spread the information. If they had the guts and strength to come, they would naturally be near ancient saints. Otherwise, they would just be throwing their lives away. Yet, the one who came was only an undying saint. Wasn't this a trap? Why would someone with no strength come to die? They were on the verge of collapsing. They wanted to pry open this undying saint's brain and see what he was thinking. As for the beast saints, they were wild with joy. They laughed so hard their stomachs hurt. Ah, that really scared me. I thought a near ancient saint really came. I almost wanted to run away and give up on this battle plan. Isn't that so? 3 near ancient saints of the human race. There is no way to fight or kill them. Who would have thought that an undying saint would come? Does this kid not know the situation? This is the battlefield of near ancient saints. Even if 2 or 3 undying saints came, they would just be throwing their lives away as cannon fodder. That kid must be out of his mind. Otherwise, why would he come and throw his life away? You can't say that. This proves the bravery of the human race. They clearly know that they are here to die, but they still choose to help. This kind of unity is simply frightening. No wonder the human race could rise so quickly and become the top race. No matter what, it's just an undying. This time, our demon race will definitely win. This time, all the human race saints will die. The beast saints were incredibly excited. Seeing that the one who appeared was merely an undying, they felt that they had won for sure. The human race's reinforcements couldn't have arrived so quickly. Whoosh. At this moment, Xia Ping stepped out of the void and stood in the center of the battlefield, looking at the demon saints in the distance. The 3 saints in the lead were all from the Celestial Wolf race. The Celestial Wolf clan was the king clan of the demon clan. They had a powerful bloodline. It was said that they were born to rule over the wolf clan. Their strength and speed were more than 100 times stronger than ordinary wolves, and their physical recovery was also extremely terrifying. Just at the lightning tribulation realm, one could already possess a half-undying body. Moreover, all of the Celestial Wolf clan's power could be shared, condensing into one. Their minds were interlinked and they were adept at group battles. Just like an army, they could easily suppress other races. Therefore, when the power of these immortal beast saints and near ancient beast saints condensed into one, the power they could unleash was more than several times more terrifying than an ordinary team of saints. Interesting. The Celestial Wolf clan is the royal clan of the demon clan. They are adept at group battles and are a famous army of the demon clan. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and recalled the information he obtained about the Celestial Wolf clan from the All Saints Palace. If the Wolf clan has a member of the Celestial Wolf clan's royal clan, the entire army's power will explosively increase by 10 times. They will also have special bloodline abilities such as assimilation, summoning, and regeneration. Such an expert is indeed qualified for me to take action. Now die. As soon as he finished speaking with a thought, a huge amount of magic power surged in his body. He immediately activated the true solution of illusions. One thought, one world, as well as the mystique from the illusion race, limitless nightmare art. Boom, in an instant, with Xia Ping's body as the center, the area within a radius of 40 light years was immediately shrouded by a tyrannical divine sense. It seemed to have formed an absolute illusory domain, eroding every piece of spacetime and invading every corner. This was pure soul coercion, containing a terrifying power that could not be resisted. It was as if a world had descended in this void. The surrounding spacetime was distorted, changing heaven and earth and shaking the surroundings. What is this? Heavens! Yunyang Sage and the other human sages were all shocked. They felt an almost irresistible soul coercion, as if it was crushing down on them, trying to crush their souls. This was a soul power that far surpassed an immortal sage's. Even near ancient sages could not compare. It was as if at this moment the spacetime within a radius of billions of kilometers had stopped. The Celestial Wolf Beast Saints who bore the brunt of the attack were even more shocked, their eyes filled with fear. Bang, bang, bang. One by one, the immortal Beast Saints fell from the sky, unable to withstand this illusion power. They all fainted and foamed at the mouth. None of them could withstand it. Even the human undying who bore the brunt of the attack felt drowsy, as if they had been instantly pulled into a boundless nightmare world. As for the three celestial wolf beast saints, they felt that the hundreds and thousands of layers of spatial barriers around them could not resist the soul undulations. It seemed to easily penetrate the spatial barriers and engulf their souls. In an instant they also fell into an illusion world. The surrounding space seemed to have changed. Boundless grasslands, mountains, rivers, and towering mountains appeared beneath their feet. Damn, illusion, this is the power of illusion and illusion domain. Don't fall asleep. Wake up immediately or you'll die for sure. Kill him, kill this human undying immediately. He's too dangerous. Just as they were about to completely fall into the illusory world, the three demon sages of the Sirius immediately felt a strong sense of crisis in their hearts. The bloodline deep in their bodies felt a stabbing pain, and their instincts as sages saved them. A powerful soul force was about to tear this illusory domain and break free from this domain world. They were extremely shocked, feeling an intense killing intent towards this human undying that suddenly appeared. It was just an undying being, yet this illusion technique domain actually affected even their near-ancient beast saints, unable to resist it. Just how terrifying of an illusion technique was this? Chapter 2301. It seems that this illusion domain is still not strong enough to subdue the ancient sages. It can barely affect the sages' actions. But even if it's just a little, it's enough. Sui Meng Shao Shuan Sui Ming Kam. Xia Ping shook his head when he heard the roars of the three celestial wolf demon sages. They released their strength in an attempt to break through his illusion domain. He didn't think much of it. Although the three sages were filled with terrifying murderous intent and seemed to be extremely angry, their movements were a little slow under the suppression of his illusion domain. However, in a battle between sages, such a slight delay could be fatal. He couldn't let go of such a great opportunity. Golden Crow Claw of Hell. Xia Ping looked at the three sages indifferently and struck out with his claw. In an instant, the 9 billion Golden Crow of Hell cells in his body vibrated, and the enormous Golden Crow of Hell bloodline burst out. It seemed to have triggered an enormous ancient power from Hell. Vaguely, a Golden Crow of Hell appeared behind him and let out an earth-shattering roar. The roar seemed to have traversed the boundless space-time and came from the depths of Hell, shaking the hearts of countless gods and devils. Suddenly, a dark golden claw stretched out from the void. It was extremely huge and spanned a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers. It was as if the sun was extremely small in front of this claw, like a soccer ball. All the sages felt extremely small when they saw this dark golden claw. It was as if they had returned to the time when they were still mortals. They felt the eternal aura and the legend from the mythological era. The dark golden claw merely slapped out once and then retracted slightly. Dong. The three sages were still struggling and roaring, but they were caught by the dark golden claw. It was as easy and effortless as an eagle catching chicks. Ah! What is this? What kind of power is this? Let go of me. Let go of me now. In an instant their enormous bodies were squeezed tightly. Then they let out miserable shrieks and tried to struggle. However, it was to no avail. The gigantic claws continued to ruthlessly crush down on them. In the next moment, their bodies exploded like watermelons. Blood splattered everywhere. It was an extremely dazzling sight. Even the armor they were wearing was a low-quality sacred weapon that could resist the attacks of the peak of Immortal Realm experts. However, they were smashed and turned into a pile of scrap iron. All the restrictions and formations were destroyed. At the same time, the surrounding space shattered as if it had been torn apart by a claw. Like glass, crackling sounds rang out, as if traces of a giant claw had appeared in the void. This was a terrifying power that could leave a mark in the void. Damned human. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Die. Die now. The three saints of the Celestial Wolf clan were even more enraged. They let out an earth-shattering roar as their shattered bodies turned into a huge amount of energy, seemingly wanting to gather together again. The ancient saints who possessed immortal bodies were not so easily killed. Even if they were smashed into pieces by the giant claw, they were still extremely tenacious with their immortal bodies. However, before their bodies could gather again, terrifying black roots surged out from the depths of the void in all directions with Xia Ping as the center, covering a radius of 1,000,000 kilometers. In an instant, these roots wrapped the bodies of the three ancient saints and produced a terrifying devouring power, like a pack of wolves devouring and tearing them apart. It was as if a giant beast had appeared, opening its mouth and choosing people to devour. In just a short moment, the flesh and blood of the three demon saints had been completely devoured. All of their flesh and soul energy had been completely devoured, leaving not a single drop behind. It was obvious that the three sacred beasts had perished. At this moment, all the roots left contentedly and returned to the depths of Xia Ping's sea of consciousness, as if the roots of the world tree had never appeared. At the same time, the flesh and blood energy, information of the law of space, soul energy, and so on from the three ancient saints were completely devoured by the world tree and taken for its own. Clatter, immediately, the branches of the world tree swayed, and three transparent, crystal-like space fruits appeared. Moreover, each space fruit was larger than the one that had formed after devouring Cassio previously, and contained even more space law power. Obviously, the three celestial wolf race saints were much stronger than Cassio. Not bad, another three space fruits. This trip wasn't wasted. However, there are still some immortal beasts that haven't died. Let's get rid of them. Xia Ping clawed out again. Bang bang bang. In the next second, the dozen immortal demon sages who had fallen into a deep sleep and were unconscious did not know what had happened. A tyrannical force crushed over and their bodies were instantly shattered into pieces. Even their souls were shattered. The corpses of the immortal beasts fell into his hands without a doubt. They were kept in the mountain river pearl space and became fertilizer for the world tree. Beep beep. At this moment he heard a voice from the universe virtual network. Killed 13 immortal beasts, obtained 650 million points. Killed 2 late ancient demon saints, obtained 600 million points. Killed 1 late ancient demon saint, obtained 500 million points. Obtained a total of 1.75 billion points. Oh my god, 1.75 billion points. I'm rich. I'm really rich this time. In addition to the points I obtained before, I have 2 billion points now. How many treasures and resources can I exchange with this? How much can the stars increase in strength? Corinne simply went crazy and was extremely excited. He felt that these billions of points were simply a windfall falling on his head, and he felt an unprecedented joy. Indeed, a man can't get rich without windfall, and a horse can't get fat without night grass. War is the fastest way to earn money. Killing one can earn hundreds of millions. Even a money printing machine isn't this terrifying. Green Ox was excited too. He shouted in the mountain river pearl space. Previously, Xia Ping used all sorts of methods to earn points. However, he didn't need to now. He just had to sweep through everything. This wasn't some demon saint beast but a treasure vault. Indeed, it's not difficult for me to kill late ancient demon saints now. Xia Ping ignored Corinne and Green Ox's excitement. He was very satisfied with his current strength. When fighting a demon saint, he first used the mental domain to suppress the opponent. The illusion domain would pull the opponent into the nightmare world. Ordinary immortal beasts couldn't resist it at all and would faint immediately. Even those with powerful soul power would be in a trance for a moment and slow down to a certain extent. If there was a delay, there would be a flaw. If he attacked again, the demon saint would die without a doubt. Unless the opponent was already an ancient demon saint who comprehended the laws of time and had a time domain, he naturally couldn't suppress the opponent's domain and soul power. Chapter 2302. Oh my god, no way. That 3 near ancient demonic sages died just like that? Cloud Sun Sage and the other 2 near ancient demonic sages were dumbfounded. They could not believe what they were seeing. Just now, they were suppressed by the 3 near ancient demon sages and were in a dangerous situation. They were almost in a hopeless situation, so they naturally knew how terrifying the 3 near ancient demon sages were. They were definitely no match for them. However, the 3 near ancient demonic sages were as weak as babies facing this peak immortal sage. They were not a match for him at all. In just a few breaths, the 3 near ancient demonic sages were killed on the spot without being able to fight back. As for the other 13 immortal overlords, there was no need to mention them. They were like ants that were easily destroyed. Seeing this, they were all in awe of this immortal sage who had suddenly appeared. After all, if these near ancient demonic sages were not a match for this person, then even if they all joined forces, they would not be a match for this sage who had suddenly appeared. He's too powerful. In such a short time, 3 near ancient demonic sages and 13 immortal sages were killed just like that. Not even a single demonic sage could escape. What the hell is going on? I don't know what happened at all. What did this mysterious immortal sage do? Why couldn't these demonic sages fight back at all? I'm not sure. I only know that I almost lost consciousness for a moment just now. It's terrifying indeed. Just being swept by the shockwave had such an effect. It's hard to imagine what kind of attack the demonic sages would have suffered. Without a doubt, this is an illusion technique. It's a soul attack. This person must be a top-notch illusion master. I'm afraid this person is not just an immortal sage. He must have reached the peak immortal sage level. The reason why we couldn't tell is that he cultivated a technique to hide his aura. Many human sages discussed among themselves and looked at Xia Ping in shock. Previously they were still in despair. Why did an immortal sage suddenly appear? Wasn't he here to die? They didn't expect his strength to be so terrifying. He killed the group of demonic sages with just a few punches and kicks and saved their lives. Then they rejoiced. Fortunately, they were only discussing at the side and did not say such things to his face. Otherwise, they might have angered the human race sage who had saved their lives. If that was the case, they probably wouldn't even be able to cry. Thank you, brother. Thank you for your help. I am the Star Jade Sage. I am Yin-Yang Sage. Thank you, brother, for your timely help. You have saved our lives. If you need any help in the future, please let us know. At this moment, Cloud Sun Sage and Star Jade Sage stepped forward and greeted Xia Ping. They also saw that Xia Ping's body was enveloped by a layer of dense fog. It seemed like the energy was distorted and no power could penetrate through it. Xia Ping's figure and appearance were not exposed. However, they did not dare to say anything. It was the other party's freedom not to reveal their appearance and aura. There's no need to stand on ceremony. It's just a small matter. Since your danger has been resolved, I'll be taking my leave. Xia Ping did not want to reveal his identity. After all, he had just arrived at the Thunderbolt Sea region. Moreover, he was already very famous. If he revealed his identity when he had just arrived at the Thunderbolt Sea region, he would probably be targeted by the sages of many races. At that time, he would definitely be hunted down in the Thunderbolt Sea region and be monitored at all times. In particular, he had killed a near-ancient sage previously. Now he had consecutively killed 3 near-ancient sages. No matter how one looked at it, this was a major event that could shock the universe. Therefore, he decided to hide his identity. You're leaving just like that? Upon hearing this, Cloud Sun Sage was stunned. Brother, why don't we find a place to have a meal and chat? That way we can express our gratitude. He also wanted to build a relationship with this mysterious powerhouse and find out his name. There's no need. I don't want my identity to be revealed. Let's bid farewell here. Xia Ping waved his hand. His figure flashed and disappeared from the spot before Cloud Sun Sage and the others could persuade him to stay. This? Cloud Sun Sage was dumbfounded. He had not expected this mysterious powerhouse to leave so quickly. Even if he wanted to say something to persuade him to stay, it was already too late. Brother Yun-Yang, don't try to persuade him. At that moment, the Star Jade Sage's eyes lit up. This powerhouse naturally has his reasons for wanting to hide his identity. We shouldn't say much either. He tried to dissuade Cloud Sun Sage. Yes, Brother Star Jade is right. Upon hearing this, Cloud Sun Sage calmed down and felt that what the Star Jade Sage had said was indeed correct. Although it was rare for sages to hide their identity, it was not impossible. For example, the other party might be carrying out a secret mission for the human tribe and had only occasionally passed by this place. When he saw a fellow human tribe member in trouble, he decided to lend a helping hand. However, this identity could not be revealed. Otherwise, it would definitely cause a huge disaster and be discovered by the other races. This kind of thing was not unheard of. For example, the other party might have an enemy in the Thunder Sea region. Or perhaps the other party simply did not want to make friends with other sages and felt that it would be troublesome to reveal his identity. In short, there were all kinds of possibilities. The other party was their savior. Since the other party was in trouble and did not want to reveal his identity, they naturally could not be so foolish. They had already advanced to the sage realm and had lived for a long time. All of them were experienced people and naturally knew the ways of the world. They would not act rashly like those hotheads. It's a pity that we can't make friends with such a powerhouse. Cloud Sun Sage lamented. I wonder which near-ancient sage or medial sage of our Thunder Sea region he is? He could not sense Xia Ping's strength and could only guess that the other party might be a near-ancient sage or even a medial sage who had comprehended time laws. He might not be from our Thunder Sea region. He might be from another sea region in the Mystic Zone. The Star Jade Sage's eyes flickered, as if he was trying to guess Xia Ping's identity. Forget it. It's useless to think so much. Anyway, it's fortunate that this mysterious powerhouse passed by and saved our lives. Otherwise, all of us would have died at the hands of these demon sages. Cloud Sun Sage rejoiced. Isn't that right? We can't be so reckless next time. Humans die in pursuit of wealth and birds die in pursuit of food. We can't be greedy. Star Jade Sage felt that he had learned a terrible lesson this time. Indeed, we can't be too greedy. However, the Skywolf clan has lost 3 near-ancient sage and 13 immortal overlords. This is a great loss. The demon clan's forces in the Thunder Sea region have also been severely damaged. Let's see how they can be cocky now. As time passes, the Thunder Sea region will be occupied by us humans sooner or later. Cloud Sun Sage said excitedly. The demon clan had lost 3 near-ancient sage and 13 immortal overlords. This was an unbearable loss that could not be made up for in a short period of time. There was no doubt that this battle had given the human forces a certain degree of upper hand in the Thunder Sea region. Sometimes wars were like this. The accumulation of advantages would eventually form an unstoppable trend. Chapter 2303. At the same time, many human race sages who were rushing over to provide aid also received news that 3 near-ancient demon sages and 13 immortal demon sages had died, and Yunyang Sage and the others had been rescued. What? One of the sages was dumbfounded. You're saying that Yunyang Sage and the others have been rescued and that the 3 great demon sages have been killed? What kind of joke was this? Who exactly did this? Who had the strength to do this? Could it be that the saints of the Middle Ages took action? The problem is that the famous saints of the Middle Ages are not in the vicinity of the Thunder Seas. How are we going to send reinforcements? They simply could not believe this news. According to their estimations, by the time they arrived, Yunyang Sage and the others would already be dead. It was almost impossible to save them. The reason why they still rushed over was because they did their best and left the rest to fate. However, not long after they set off, they received news that they didn't need their support, because all the demon saints had been killed, and not a single one was left. It's true. Cloud Sun Sage and the others have already sent news that they have been rescued and are now returning to Thunder City. It is said that the one who killed those ancient demon sages was a human sage who happened to pass by. Some sages received the news. A saint who happened to pass by? What is his background? I'm not sure. It's said that the identity of the human race's sage is extremely mysterious and he is unwilling to reveal his identity. But no matter what, to be able to kill 3 near-ancient saints is no small matter. At the very least, he is at the peak of the near-ancient saint realm. Sage Yunyang and the others are really lucky. I thought they had fallen into the demon clan's trap and were doomed this time. Who would have thought that they would encounter a human clan sage who was very powerful? They really didn't deserve to die. I wonder what human race saint is. Why is his identity so mysterious? If it was a sage from our Thunder Sea region, there would be no need to keep it a secret. Maybe they're from another sea region. No matter what, it's a good thing. Now that the sages of our human race are not dead, but those demon sages are dead, this is a real force that can greatly damage the demon race. Ah, that's right. 3 near-ancient sages and 13 immortal overlords have died. Even with the strength of the demon race, it's a huge loss. It's impossible to make up for it in a short period of time. The saints of the human race laughed out loud in excitement, thinking that this was a great achievement. After all, even for the demon race, which was a peak race, the ancient demon sages were considered experts, not to mention that 3 of them had died. This was a huge loss that they could not bear. Don't look down on this number. The problem was that the mystic zones were huge and there were many sea domains. These sea domains needed to be guarded by powerful demon overlords in order to guarantee the benefits of the demon race in the mystic zones. It could be said that the combat power of every demon saint was extremely important and indispensable. If a few of them died in a certain sea region, it would be impossible to transfer them from other sea regions. Unless one of their descendants could ascend to the demon saint realm, only then would they be able to replenish their combat power. The problem was that it was not easy to advance to demon sage, let alone ancient demon sage. Among the many immortal demon sages, there were probably not many who could comprehend spatial laws. In this way, the demon race's influence in the Thunder Sea region would gradually weaken, and their human race would be able to continuously gain the upper hand in the Thunder Sea region, gradually eroding the endless resources of this sea region. Not long after, the headquarters of the Fiend race in the Thunder Sea region was a city. The Fiend race's city was completely made of purple stones, so it was named Purple Demon City. At this moment, many demon sages had also received the news, and their expressions were extremely ugly. Damn it, how could this be? Didn't they say that this plan was foolproof? Why did the Sky Wolf race fail? Ancient Demon Sage roared in anger. After hearing the news, he almost fainted from anger. Originally, this was a rather important plan of the Fiend race. They could seize the opportunity to kill 2 ancient demon sages and many immortal sages. This would definitely be a heavy blow to the human race's strength in the Thunder Sea region. Who would have thought that such a foolproof plan would fail now? Now, not only did they fail to kill the human sages, but they also caused the death of 3 ancient demon sages and 13 immortal peak demon sages. This was a huge loss that could not be recovered. Yeah, how did it fail? In order to make this plan go smoothly, our fiend race's strength in the Thunder Sea region was almost fully mobilized, and we blocked many ancient demon sages and ancient demon sages in advance. Our goal was to prevent the human race's rescue. Who would have thought that there would still be a loophole? What kind of joke is this? An ancient demon sage's expression was extremely ugly. For this plan they had paid a huge price. Their goal was to severely injure the human race sages and gain an absolute advantage in the Thunder Sea region for the fiend race. However, such a meticulous plan still had a loophole, which caused the fiend race to suffer a huge setback. There's nothing we can do. The human race sages are too lucky. According to the intelligence, the human race sages that suddenly appeared are probably experts from other sea regions. A demon sage gritted his teeth and said, "What a coincidence." That fellow was coincidentally near the battlefield and received the distress signal from Cloud Sun Sage and the others. In the end, our demon sages were unlucky. How could this happen? Cloud Sun Sage and the others are so lucky that they encountered such a thing. Could it be that man proposes but God disposes? Who is it? Who is that human race expert that killed our demon sages? Capture him immediately and tear him into pieces. That human race sages didn't reveal their identity. Even the human race sages don't know who did it. Damn it. That dog that hides its head but shows its tail. Since he has the ability to kill our demon sages, he doesn't have the guts to reveal his identity? What kind of hero is that? He's just a coward. The demon sages were infuriated. At this moment, they hated that they couldn't capture the human race sages who ruined their plan and tear him into pieces. If it weren't for that fella, their fiend race would have gained a huge advantage in the Thunder Sea region. They wouldn't have to suffer such a huge loss. We have no choice. 3 ancient demon sages and 13 peak immortal realm demon sages are dead. The loss is too great. If this continues, the entire Thunder Sea region will become the human race's territory. An ancient demon sage wore a gloomy face and murderous aura filled his body. Now, we can only activate this plan ahead of time and eradicate the human race's forces in the Thunder Sea region. Lord, if we do that, we might start a war between the 2 races. This is not a small matter. Thinking of that plan, some ancient demon sages were frightened. Start a war? It's already a war. If we don't recover our losses, our fiend race's forces in the Thunder Sea region will be wiped out by the human race sooner or later. It's either you or I. Don't talk nonsense. I've already reported this to the patriarchs. They also agree with my plan. We'll start executing it today. The ancient demon sage sneered. Yes. Hearing this, the demon sages nodded. Since the patriarchs had agreed, they could only carry out the plan. Chapter 2304. 3 days later, the myriad stars finally arrived at the Thunder Continent. The human race occupied a corner of the Thunder Continent, and built a huge and vast city on this boundless continent. It was called the Thunder City. All the human race lived in the Thunder City, and many sages would also use the Thunder City as a place to rest. Occasionally they would go out for adventures and fight with other races. However, after fighting for a period of time, they would return to the Thunder City to rest and cultivate. Over time, the Thunder City also became the largest gathering place of the human race in the Thunder Sea region. A large number of treasures were traded in the city, making the city extremely prosperous. What a huge human race city. Xia Ping piloted the myriad stars and arrived at the Thunder City. He looked from afar and was immediately shocked by the size of the city. It was simply like an unparalleled giant beast lying dormant in the Thunder Continent. At a glance, it was boundless and he could not see the end of it. It was said that the diameter of the city reached 100 light years. In order to build this city, a lot of resources were spent. The entire city was surrounded by numerous restrictions and formations, and they were densely packed and layered upon one another. It was simply like the lair of a monster, and ordinary forces were utterly incapable of shaking it. Moreover, thousands of terrifying energy turrets were built around the city walls. They were distributed in every corner, and a volley was enough to tear apart a sage's body and destroy an area of hundreds of millions of kilometers. There was no doubt that this was a pure war fortress. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Xia Ping was not the only one who arrived at the Thunder City. There were also many spaceships in the sky. They all arrived at the Thunder City one after another and went in and out of this place. They were very busy. An unfamiliar signal is coming. It's from the Thunder City. They want us to enter the port to accept information verification. At this time, Corinne received an inquiry message from the Thunder City on the spaceship. In fact, every spaceship that entered the Thunder City would undergo a strict inspection. After all, this was the nest of the human race in the Thunder Continent and all dangers must be eliminated. It was impossible for any alien race to enter. All right, let's go. Xiaoping nodded. Soon, the myriad stars landed at a port in the Thunder City. This port was where many spaceships were parked. Many spaceships also entered the port to undergo inspection. Beep. When the asterisks entered the Thunder City's port, a laser scanned the inside and outside of the spaceship. After that, a mechanical voice rang out. Scan successful. Human race spaceship confirmed. Identity of spaceship owner confirmed. Genetic information confirmed. You are a human saint. You are granted the authority to enter Thunder City. Whoosh. Xiaoping walked out of the cabin of the multitude stars and waved his hand to keep the multitude stars. He finally entered the human city in the Thunder territory, Thunder City. So many sages. As soon as he entered the Thunder City, Xiaoping walked on the streets and immediately found many saints of the human clan and the saints of the human clan's vassal clans. Immortal sages and near-ancient sages could be seen everywhere on the streets. Even a middle-ancient sage would occasionally appear. Clearly, Thunder City was much stronger than the sages of the Stormy Sea region. Other than the sages, he also noticed that there were many mortals in the Thunder City as well. In fact, most of the humans in the Thunder City were mortals who had yet to reach the sempiternal realm. Why are there so many mortals in Thunder City? Xiaoping was very curious. He noticed that the people walking on the streets, as well as the people working in various entertainment venues, restaurants, shopping malls, and so on, were basically all mortals who had yet to reach the sempiternal realm. It was normal for him to find it strange. After all, the mystic zones were a place where sages fought. Living beings who had yet to reach the immortal realm were like ants in this place. A slight shockwave from the battle would cause them to die and turn them into ashes. It's very normal. Corinne had previously inquired about a lot of information about Thunder City, so he immediately said, not only saints can come to the mystic area, some Thunder Retribution Realm powerhouses also come to the mystic area to adventure and look for opportunities to make a breakthrough. And these Lightning Tribulation Realm powerhouses are unable to break through in the mystic zones. Over time they will settle down and live in this place. They will mate with each other and naturally many children will be born. Even some sages will mate with each other and give birth to a large number of children. Therefore, with the passage of time, many mortals appeared in Thunder City. And these mortals can't return to the common zones or go to other zones. They can only stay in the mystic zones. However, these mortals living in the mystic zones have a faster promotion speed compared to other zones. They also obtain more experience and the probability of becoming an immortal sage is also higher compared to other zones. So that's how it is. Xiaoping nodded, indicating that he understood this point. Thunder City is the city of sages. A large number of treasures will be traded in this city. Countless treasures collected from the Thunder Sea region will appear in Thunder City. Corinne said in a deep voice, therefore if you cultivate in this place as long as you have enough money, you won't have to worry about the lack of cultivation resources. It is an excellent place for cultivation. We should first find a place to temporarily settle down. Indeed, we need to find a place first. It would be better to buy a house here. Only, I don't know what currency is used to trade here. Xiaoping said. Corinne said, the hard currency here is the human army's points. Sometimes, points are even more scarce than universe coins. After all, with points you can exchange them for all kinds of precious treasures in the human army system. Those are priceless things that can't be bought with money in the outside world. Previously, I checked the houses in Thunder City. Because Thunder City is huge, sages will have a special residential area. Luxurious villas are built inside, covering a vast area. Moreover, the price of the villas is not particularly expensive. A private villa can be bought for about 100,000 points. Indeed, it's not very expensive. Let's buy one. Xiaoping immediately made up his mind. He felt that he should stay in Thunder City for a long time, so having a private residence that was suitable for himself was a very good thing. Okay, I have already bought it. Someone will come to pick us up soon. Corinne was very efficient. He immediately bought a villa in Thunder City on the human race's universe virtual network. Whoosh. A few minutes later, an AI robot flew over and arrived at Xiaoping's side. Welcome, sir. I am XBN, Butler Robot number 007. I am specially at your service. The Hylon District Villa number 7 that you bought should be properly arranged. I don't know when you would like to move in. Can I lead the way? The AI robot butler said. Its whole body was condensed from a silver liquid. It was a high-level liquid robot. Moreover, it seemed to have a very high degree of intelligence, second only to Corinne. Okay, take me there. Xiaoping nodded. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. After saying that, the butler robot immediately flew up and led the way, bringing Xiaoping to the Hylon District Villa number 7. Chapter 2305. Thunder City Hylon District, Villa number 7. Under the guidance of the robot butler, Xiaoping arrived at the villa very quickly. He immediately discovered that the villa occupied a large area, at least hundreds of acres. There were ponds, swimming pools, bridges, training grounds, and other facilities inside. It had almost everything that one needed. It was like a holiday villa. Even the entire villa was set up with a powerful restrictive formation. It seemed to be integrated with the entire Thunder City. If the restrictive formation of the villa was disturbed, it would be equivalent to alarming the entire Thunder City, which would cause a chain reaction. Even the saints of the Middle Ages would not dare to easily disturb such a power. Sir, this villa number 7 is your private residence. Without your permission, no one can approach it. Otherwise, you have the right to kill the other party on the spot without any responsibility. The robot butler said. Not bad. Xiaoping entered villa number 7 and was immediately very satisfied with the place. Most importantly, it was very safe. No matter what he did in the villa, he did not have to worry about being disturbed by others. The 100,000 points were well spent. Sir, I won't disturb your rest then. After saying this, the robot butler immediately left and did not stay in this place. With a beep, the control of the villa was immediately handed over to Xiaoping. He walked in and looked at the surroundings of the villa, feeling very satisfied. Then he went to a hot spring in the villa and temporarily rested. At this moment, the entire villa's defense system was activated. Countless layers of restrictive formations enveloped it, and no power could penetrate the power of the restrictive formations to see the situation inside the villa. By the way, let's see what good things can be exchanged. Xiaoping lay comfortably in the hot spring. With a light tap, the All Saints Temple's exchange list appeared, and a large number of treasures appeared on it. He now had a total of 2 billion points. Even the saints of the Middle Ages might not have such a net worth. After all, there were very few existences like him who could easily kill saints of the near ancient times. With such points he could exchange for a large number of treasures. Xiaoping. At this moment, Corinne jumped out. Exchange for the special or from the mystical zones, earthly spirit mithril. It will be of great benefit to the stars. Oh, earthly spirit mithril? What's that? Xiaoping asked curiously. It is said that this is a unique or from a strange sea in the mystic zones. It has a great effect on weakening soul attacks. Many soul defense artifacts are made from earth spirit mithril. Corinne revealed the information he knew, his tone very excited. If the stars can be fused with the earthly soul mithril, it will definitely be promoted to a high-grade holy artifact. At the same time, it will have a powerful defense against soul attacks. At that time, it will be able to weaken at least 70% of the enemy's soul attacks. 70%. Hearing this, Xiaoping was immediately moved. In the Saint realm, the most terrifying attack was a soul attack. It could be said that the physical defenses of many Saint-class spaceships were strong enough that ordinary attacks would not be able to damage them. However, soul attacks were different. They were silent, traceless, and formless. They could easily penetrate the spaceship's defenses and directly attack the Saint class. Back then, the astral sage had perished in this manner. He had been blasted by the soul secret technique, which had penetrated the astral starship's defenses and instantly killed all the living beings on the astral starship, including the astral sage. If the stars had the ability to defend against soul attacks back then and could weaken the enemy's soul attacks by 70%, the star saints would definitely not have died just like that. The problem was that ores that could defend against soul attacks were simply too precious. Basically, they could only be found in the mystic zones. Every gram of earthly soul mithril was priceless and desired by countless saints. After all, this was a life-saving treasure. Who wouldn't want it? How many points do I need to exchange for this earthly spirit mithril? Xiaoping asked. 300 million. I need 300 million points to exchange for enough earth soul mithril to upgrade the stars. Corinne thought for a while and immediately said a number. 300 million points? That's ridiculous. Xia Ping took a deep breath. He knew how terrifying a number 300 million points was. Let alone an immortal sage, even a near-ancient sage wouldn't be able to take out such a number. After all, not all sages were as terrifying as him, able to easily kill sages of the same level, or even kill those of a higher level, thereby gaining a large number of points. Ordinary sages could only train, take risks, and find many treasures to exchange for points. Occasionally they would have the opportunity to kill sages of the same level. Therefore, points were simply a rare item for many sages. It was difficult to take out 10 million points. Let alone 300 million points, they wouldn't be able to even if they sold it. However, it was clear that the earthly spirit mithril was also worth the price. It could weaken the enemy's soul attacks by 70%. It was simply the best life-saving treasure. Let's exchange. Xia Ping wasn't stingy. Anyway, he had 2 billion points on him now. He didn't even know how to spend them. It was just 300 million points. He could still afford it. Okay. Corinne placed the order excitedly and chose to exchange for the item. Immediately, 300 million points disappeared from his account. Apart from strengthening the stars, I also need to strengthen the power of my life treasure, the Chaos Bell. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He looked at the exchange list of various treasures and thought about what he wanted to exchange for. Master. At that moment, the green ox said, the main materials of the Chaos Bell, Chaos Scarlet Iron, Sound Pattern Stone, and so on have greatly enhanced the power of Master's life treasure. If you want to continue to improve the Chaos Bell, there are 2 kinds of ores that can be added, Soul Morning Iron and Desolate Copper. They will definitely be of great benefit to the Chaos Bell. Soul Morning Iron and Desolate Copper? Xia Ping clicked on it and immediately saw the information on the exchange list. Sure enough, it was an extremely precious universe-level ore. It was priceless and not inferior to the earthly spirit mithril. It was said that this was a strange ore that was born from a certain dark sea in the mystic zones after hundreds of millions of years of bloodthirsty aura. Even if a sage approached it, they would be affected by this or losing their souls and injuring their souls. It could be said that it would take a lot of effort just to excavate the Soul Morning Iron and Desolate Copper. That's right. If these 2 materials can be integrated into it, it can immediately condense the Soul Morning Light. The green ox said excitedly, when the Chaos Bell rings, it will stir up waves of Soul Morning Light. Wherever it goes, all sages will have their 7 souls and 6 spirits shattered. How many points do I need? Xia Ping asked. I need 600 million points, the green ox said. Xia Ping was speechless. It was another huge expenditure. Sure enough, this kind of universe-level ore was very valuable. Even if a sage wanted to exchange for it, it would be extremely painful. Chapter 2306. The next day, after Xia Ping exchanged for these treasures in the Saints' Hall, a spaceship immediately landed in front of the villa's entrance. Following that, a few intelligent robots emerged carrying precious treasure chests. They did not say anything. After Xia Ping signed, the earthly soul mithril, soulless iron, and desolate copper were all transported to his villa. Although these were all extremely precious treasures, they were in Thunder City, the headquarters of the human race. At the same time, they were escorted by the human army, so no one dared to have any designs on these treasures. As a result, there was no danger during the process. It's starting. After receiving these precious materials, Xia Ping was in high spirits. He immediately began refining his natal treasure, the Bell of Chaos and the spaceship, Stars. He had nothing else to do in Thunder City for the time being, so it was a good time to refine treasures. It was rare for him to have the free time. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, another 3 months passed. At that moment, in a quiet room in the villa, I finally succeeded. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. After 3 months and countless efforts, he had finally completely fused the earthly soul mithril into Stars, successfully upgrading it to a high-grade saint artifact. At that moment, Stars turned into the main body of the constellation vine. Like a blade of grass, it easily fused into Xia Ping's palm and swayed gently. The blade of grass was silvery white in color. Its leaves, roots, and other parts were completely covered by the earthly soul mithril. It looked like a silver product, shining with silvery white light. At the same time, densely packed formations appeared around the blade of grass. It contained powerful defensive power, and anyone who saw it would know that it was no ordinary item. It's very powerful. It's even more powerful after upgrading to a high-grade saint artifact. Xia Ping could sense the power of the constellation vine. After fusing with the earthly soul mithril, Ordinary soul attacks would find it very difficult to penetrate the earthly soul mithril's defense. Even though it was just a thin layer of silvery white on the surface, even the soul attacks of peak ancient saints would not be able to penetrate the earthly soul mithril at all. His divine senses tried to penetrate it, but they found great resistance. It was like passing through cowhide, and it was very difficult to penetrate the outer layer of the earthly soul mithril and reach the constellation vine. Moreover, the earthly soul mithril had the effect of blocking the power of the divine senses. Most probing divine senses would not feel anything when they enveloped the earthly soul mithril, as if they were smoke. It was as if he had become invisible. If the stars were to be completely activated, it would be completely silent. Ordinary sages would not be able to sense any movement from the stars. At the same time, the Earth Soul Mithril also greatly increased the constellation vine's penetrative power and attack power by at least tenfold. Numerous green vines shot out like streams of light, easily piercing through the void. They possessed the power to pierce through all matter, and even had the power to destroy souls. It could be said that the benefits that the Earth Soul Mithril brought to the Thousand Stars vine were simply too great. It was as if the Earth Soul Mithril had transformed into a completely different species, raising the Thousand Stars vine's strength by far, far too much. No wonder Earth Spirit's secret silver is so precious. Countless sages covet it. The benefits it brings to magic treasures are simply too great. Sensing the effects of Earth Spirit's secret silver, Xiaoping could not help but sigh. Haha, with the high-quality Saint Artifact stars, we can go anywhere we want even if the mystic zone is huge. Corinne was also very excited. He was extremely satisfied with the current stars. It could become invisible and hide from the detection of foreign sages. It could defend and be directly immune to ordinary soul attacks. Even powerful soul attacks could be weakened by 70%. It was simply a tank, a war fortress. At the same time, its attack power was also very strong. As a universe-level plant-type creature, the Thousand Stars vine was already terrifying enough. With the mithril power integrated into the Earth Soul Mithril, it could increase the Thousand Stars vine's strength by more than tenfold. With such a transportation tool, even if he could not defeat those powerful sages, he could easily escape. It was an absolute life-saving item that was priceless. If any sages knew about the existence of this spaceship, they would probably want to snatch it. Hee hee. At that moment, the green bull at the side sneered. Do you think it's only the stars that have been upgraded? Master's personal magic treasure, the Chaos Bell, has also been upgraded to a high-quality saint artifact. He could not bear to see Corinne being so smug. In fact, in the past 3 months, Xiaoping had not only been refining the stars, but he had also been refining his personal magic treasure, the Chaos Bell. He spent 600 million points to fuse the soul morning iron and desolate copper into his personal magic treasure, the Chaos Bell. As expected, these two universe-level rare materials were extremely beneficial to the Chaos Bell. Their attributes were extremely compatible, and they were easily fused together. When the two materials completely fused with the soul morning iron and desolate copper, there seemed to be a magical chemical effect. Countless restriction arrays surged into the Chaos Bell's body, forming a strange power of laws. At the same time, waves of gray light spread out and swept over, producing a terrifying sound wave. Without a doubt, this was the famous soul morning light. With a slight shake, the grayish-white light spread out. Within a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers, countless living beings would lose their souls and become idiots. These two ores also increased the power of the sound stone to the extreme. The three materials complemented each other. It was not as simple as 1 plus 1, but a geometric increase. Therefore, the Chaos Bell had also been upgraded to a high-quality saint artifact, and its power had increased by more than 10 times. It would not be an exaggeration to say that it was now the #1 killing saint artifact among the high-quality saint artifacts. Moreover, the Chaos Bell's direct attack on the soul was enough to frighten countless sages. Once the Chaos Bell rang, countless sages would lose their souls and their organs would be shattered. Who could resist it? Xiaoping felt that his personal magic treasure, the Chaos Bell, was getting closer and closer to the legendary Khanate magic treasure. Perhaps one day he would refine the Chaos Bell into such a supreme treasure. Not bad, not bad. With these two magic treasures, my combat strength will definitely be greatly increased. Xiaoping was increasingly satisfied. He felt that he had spent 1.2 billion points this time, but it had been worth it. If not for the human sacred hall's help, it would have been very difficult for him to find such rare treasures. Now that he had points, he could exchange for these treasures anywhere. It was really cool to have a big tree to lean on. Master. At that moment, A voice was transmitted into the depths of his sea of consciousness. Luna, what's the matter? Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat. He sensed that Luna was speaking to him telepathically, and it was in the fiery hell. I found a new plane of hell. Luna replied. What? Hearing this, Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat. Then, excitement surged in his heart. Chapter 2307. To be honest, the infernal realm was Xiaoping's treasure trove. Putting aside the huge amount of resources in the infernal realm, just the demons, and other creatures alone could greatly enhance the golden crow of hell bloodline in his body if he could kill an immortal demon. At the same time, the world tree also needed the corpses of these demons as nourishment to grow rapidly. Previously, he had conquered the fiery hell, and all the demons in this hell had become his subordinates. At this time he could not deal with his own subordinates and kill his own people. But it was different to find a new infernal realm. This meant a large number of demons and resources. If he could start a war, he would definitely gain endless benefits. Moreover, he had awakened 9 billion golden crow of hell cells, and was only 1 billion away from the next step. If he could kill some immortal demons or even ancient demons, his cultivation base would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Thinking of this, Xiaoping did not hesitate. He immediately entered the space of the Pearl of Mountain and River. The Pearl of Mountain and River was left in the villa as a spatial coordinate point in the mystic zones. Then he used the special spatial channel in the Pearl of Mountain and River to return to the Yanhuang Star region, then to the Qingyang Secret Realm, and finally to the Infernal Hell. Luna, you've become immortal? When Xiaoping arrived at the Infernal Hell, he immediately saw Luna waiting for him. He immediately sensed that Luna's current aura was completely different from before. It was much stronger than before, and her body exuded an immortal aura. She had ascended to the immortal realm. A strong aura emanated from Luna's body, like the sun, illuminating the world. There was also an extremely dark energy lying dormant in the depths of her body, like an abyss, unfathomable, and able to devour all the darkness in the world. Yes, Master. I have been conquering some infernal realms and devoured many demons. That's how I naturally became immortal. Luna nodded. Her expression was very indifferent because this was a matter of course. If she had not been besieged and sealed by countless sages when she was just born in the primordial age, she would have long become a lawless and terrifying demon. It was only now that she had been subdued by Xiaoping and signed a contract that she restrained the ferocity in her body. What? Xiaoping raised an eyebrow. Judging from Luna's words, it seemed like this wasn't the first time a new hell plane had been discovered. Some had been discovered before, but this hell plane wasn't an ordinary plane, so she informed him. Could it be that you've discovered some hell planes before? He could not help but ask. Yes. Luna said, previously I learned a new bloodline ability, Corpse Bug Doppelganger. A drop of blood can turn into billions of corpse bugs, so these corpse bugs spread out and explored the void. In the end they found some planes of hell, about 3 of them. However, these hellish planes are too small, even smaller than the infernal inferno. Each hellish plane can only give birth to 3 immortal fiends. So, I destroyed them all and plundered their essence. I didn't inform Master for now. She said that during this period of time, she had already destroyed 3 hellish planes and killed 9 undying demons. Insect Corpse Doppelganger? Upon hearing this, Xiaoping immediately knew what kind of extraordinary bloodline god art Luna had comprehended. If it was just an ordinary clone, it would simply not be worth mentioning. But this was a corpse beast doppelganger. Don't underestimate it just because it was a clone, but it had the terrifying characteristic of a corpse beast, undying. With such terrifying characteristics, even the Hell Monsoon, which could destroy and kill demons in the hellish world, could do nothing to it. Therefore, the trillions of corpse bug doppelgangers spread out in all directions with the infernal inferno as the center. In fact, as the Hell Monsoon blew, they scattered to every corner. As a result, some of the corpse bug doppelganger landed on different hellish planes. Using the special mental connection between the doppelganger and the infernal inferno, these corpse bug doppelganger became the spatial coordinates of the infernal inferno. At the same time, Luna could observe the situation of each hell plane through the corpse bug doppelganger. The 3 hell planes she destroyed before were also found in this way. I see. Xiaoping suddenly understood. Luna's bloodline god art was simply the best way to explore. With the trillions of corpse bug doppelganger, she could easily explore every corner of hell. She didn't even have to sacrifice the lives of other demons. After all, other demons had to pay the price of their lives in order to travel through the Hell Monsoon. But the corpse bug doppelganger was different. The hell monsoon and all sorts of hellish disasters couldn't kill them. Although these corpse bug doppelganger were weak, they contained the property of undying and indestructible. They were simply too difficult to deal with. They were simply the best scouts in the world. Master, these are the origins of the 3 hell planes. Luna waved her hand, and 3 hell's origin essences appeared in her hand. They were the size of glass beads, much weaker than the infernal inferno. However, the hell's origin energy contained within them was incomparably pure, and contained infinite mysteries. Deep within the hell's origin essences, there seemed to be a dense array of hell's characters that seemed to contain hell's scriptures. She didn't devour the hell's origin essences because they wouldn't be of much use to her. However, they would be of great benefit to Xiaoping. Moreover, if she could fuse them with the infernal inferno's origin essences, she could immediately strengthen the infernal inferno. Very good. Xiaoping reached out and took the 3 dark gold hell's origin essences, which were the size of glass beads. He could immediately sense that they contained rich and pure origin energy. Rumble, he made a grasping motion, and the 3 hell's origin essences fused into his body, where they were devoured by the infernal inferno's origin essences in his dantian. Immediately, an enormous amount of hell's power flowed into his limbs and bones like a tidal wave, and was quickly devoured by every single golden crow of hell cell in his body. The spiritual power within his body, as well as the spiritual power of his 9 violet kingdom dimensions, began to rise at a rate visible to the naked eye. Even the golden crow of hell cells within him began to awaken. 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, 400 million. One by one, the golden crow of hell cells began to awaken under the influence of the hell's origin essences. It was as if planets were exploding inside of him. With each awakened golden crow of hell cell, a large amount of dark gold energy flowed into Xiaoping's veins, causing his body to undergo earth-shaking changes. After who knew how much time had passed, Xiaoping finally finished devouring the 3 hell's origin essences. Shockingly, the number of golden crow of hell cells awakened inside of him had reached 10 billion. Chapter 2308. When the number of golden crow cells in Xiaoping's body reached 10 billion, it was a critical point. Suddenly, the bloodline in his body underwent an earth-shattering change. It was as if he had been reborn. With his body as the center, a terrifying aura spread out, instantly enveloping the entire burning hell. All the abyss devils, nether ghosts, demons and other creatures could feel the aura Xiaoping exuded. At this moment, every corner of the burning hell was filled with the scorching aura of the golden crow. The terrifying heat enveloped every corner. Vaguely, Xiaoping seemed to have transformed into an eternal sun, radiating light in all directions. Any living creature in hell would be able to bask in his radiance. Lord, his lordship has returned. Heavens, what kind of light is this? It completely dispels the darkness of hell. Why? Why does this sunlight not have any destructive power? Why does my body feel so warm? All the abyss devils were bathed in the light of the golden crow. They could feel the light dispelling the endless darkness, and even easily penetrating their hearts, dispelling the cold and darkness in the depths of their hearts. It was as if they had returned to the origin of hell. Wrapped in a warm power, they felt an unprecedented sense of peace, security, and happiness. Bang bang bang. The abyss devils prostrated themselves on the ground, seemingly worshipping the distant sun. They shed tears of gratitude as if they were worshipping the great god they believed in. Some of the abyss devils closer to Xiaoping felt even more deeply. They even felt that their bodies were bathed in this sunlight, and their bloodline power and souls were constantly rising. Splash, after an unknown period of time, Xiaoping's blood had completely turned dark gold. Every drop of blood contained the power of the golden crow of hell. It seemed to be all-encompassing. Each drop of blood seemed to contain a character of hell. Countless drops of blood gathered together, and countless characters of hell rearranged themselves to form a supreme hell scripture. Immediately, endless inheritance information from the depths of his bloodline, this supreme hell scripture, seemed to surge into the depths of his sea of consciousness. Then this hell scripture spun in the depths of his sea of consciousness, shining with endless golden light. It was as if a god of the underworld was murmuring in the depths of his sea of consciousness, its mantra shaking the void and triggering the laws of the void. Finally, the hell's runes quickly condensed into a dark gold swastika symbol. He immediately knew that he had finally awakened a bloodline ability, Nether God Devil Curse. Nether God's Curse? Xiaoping's eyes flashed with a terrifying golden light. This bloodline god art wasn't an offensive god art or a defensive god art. It was a support or even a control god art. As long as he willed it, a drop of blood could be condensed into a hell talisman, which could then be transformed into an infernal god demonic curse, which could easily penetrate the souls of fiends and control their lives and loyalty. This was similar to the soul seal, a secret technique that could control souls. However, a soul seal could only control 9 slaves at most, while the Nether God's curse could control countless demons and demons. There was no limit to the number. As long as one's soul strength was strong enough, they would be able to endure it. However, this also had its drawbacks. It could not control creatures with innately powerful souls or creatures with extremely firm wills. It could only control creatures with weak souls. Moreover, it was not as good as the soul seal, which could imperceptibly influence the slave and make the slave willingly submit and never betray him. If the other party was determined to betray him and was not afraid of death, then there was nothing he could do. Even so, the effect of the Nether God's curse was extremely shocking. If the other party really betrayed him, as long as Xia Ping willed it, the other party would be dead even if they escaped to the ends of the world. Their souls would be burned to ashes by the hellfire. Such an effect was enough to make countless fiends fear him and not dare to betray him easily. Xia Ping's heart skipped a beat. He suddenly realized that after devouring the 3 hell plane essences, the burning hell had undergone an earth-shattering transformation. First, the 3 hell planes that were destroyed by Luna turned into light spots. They passed through countless layers of space and were pulled into the burning hell by the power of hell's origin. Boom! In an instant, the 4 hell planes rapidly merged together. Not only was it the fusion of hell's origin but also their land, sky, and even the plane laws. It didn't take long for Xia Ping's divine sense to sense that the entire burning hell had expanded. It kept expanding until it was more than twice as big as before. The mountains of the burning hell were growing taller and taller, towering into the sky. Rivers were growing stronger and stronger like giant dragons crawling across the land. Even the density of hell's energy was increasing. Large amounts of precious hell ores and resources were appearing in every corner of the burning hell. This was a hell plane upgrading. It's upgrading. The burning hell is upgrading. What dense hell's energy. I feel like my strength is constantly rising. Praise the Overlord. He actually plundered the energy of other hell planes. This is wonderful. Countless fiends were excited. As natives of the burning hell, they were the most sensitive to the burning hell's upgrading. It was also extremely beneficial to them. This was because every time a hell plane upgraded, it would emit an immense amount of hell's origin energy that would permeate the void and pour into every fiend's body. Originally, they would need thousands of years to evolve. But now they could complete it in just a few days. Their speed of improvement was countless times faster than before. In fact, some fiends who were stuck in bottlenecks would even loosen their bottlenecks due to the upgrading of their planes, allowing them to comprehend many of the laws of hell and gain boundless benefits. That was why the underworld fought against the Undying. This was because every time the hell plane advanced, the benefits to the demons were simply too great. In fact, some of the suzerains of hell would even slaughter and conquer other hellish planes for the sake of their own breakthroughs. Otherwise, it would take them millions upon millions of years to achieve their breakthroughs. Yes, the heavenly tribulation is coming. As the burning hell leveled up, Xia Ping looked up and saw countless tribulation clouds gathering in the sky, covering the entire burning hell. A terrible heavenly tribulation energy rolled and surged in the depths of the tribulation clouds. The terrifying heavenly tribulation energy filled the entire burning hell, causing countless demons to tremble. Chapter 2309. Heavens, what's going on? Many infernal fiends immediately discovered that the entire burning infernal realm was shrouded in a layer of tribulation clouds. They were incomparably thick like mercury. The depths of the clouds contained terrifying tribulation energy, as if tribulation lightning could descend at any moment. For these infernal fiends and nether ghosts, tribulation lightning was undoubtedly one of the most terrifying powers. Many infernal fiends trembled when they sensed this power, feeling fear from the depths of their souls. Tribulation lightning, and it's the famous 8th metal tribulation lightning. Some of the more experienced and knowledgeable infernal demons immediately recognized that this was the famous tribulation lightning. No way, it's 8th metal tribulation lightning. Why would such tribulation lightning appear? From ancient times until now, nothing like this has ever happened in the burning infernal realm. Some nether ghosts were dumbfounded. They felt that if this tribulation lightning descended as nether ghosts, they would be turned to ashes. They wouldn't be able to resist for long. This was a terrifying tribulation lightning that could kill immortals and heavily injure ancient infernal fiends. Maybe our burning infernal realm ascended and devoured the source energies of other infernal realms, which triggered the tribulation lightning? Some infernal fiends guessed. Because the burning infernal realm had never ascended, they were all country bumpkins. They didn't know what would happen after an infernal realm ascension. Impossible, I've never heard of such a thing. How could an infernal realm ascension trigger tribulation lightning? This is ridiculous. How do you know it's impossible? Perhaps the burning infernal realm's ascension violated a great taboo. Shut up, the tribulation lightning seems to be targeting the Lord. The Lord seems to be fighting at the center of the clouds. I hope the Lord can win. Otherwise, the entire burning infernal realm will be destroyed. Don't worry, it's not like you don't know how terrifying the Lord's strength is. He can even kill immortal fiends, so a mere 8th metal tribulation lightning is nothing. The infernal fiends were all deeply worried. But when they thought of Xia Ping's previous accomplishments and his formidable combat strength, they immediately regained their confidence. At this time, in the center of the clouds, the tribulation really came on time, and its 108 layers of 8th metal tribulation lightning. They really think highly of me. Xia Ping stood with his hands clasped behind his back, looking up at the enormous clouds. He could feel the terrifying aura from the huge tribulation cloud. Even though he was a saint at the peak of immortal realm, he still felt threatened. If it was a normal undying saint, they wouldn't be able to resist at all. Even near ancient saints would be heavily injured and half of their bodies would be paralyzed. Master. Luna looked at Xia Ping worriedly. Don't worry, it's just an 8th metal tribulation thunder. It's nothing. You should leave first so that you won't be affected by the heavenly tribulation. Xia Ping waved his hand and let Luna leave in peace. All right. Upon hearing this, Luna nodded. She knew that she wouldn't be of much help in the face of the heavenly tribulation. Besides, with her master's strength, the 108 lightning strikes shouldn't be a problem. With a whoosh, her figure flickered, and she immediately moved 1,000,000 kilometers away, watching from afar. Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, the tribulation clouds in the sky above the burning hell surged. Golden lightning bolts descended like giant dragons, containing boundless destructive power and penetrative power, as if they wanted to reduce this demon to ashes. Moreover, it wasn't just one golden lightning bolt. Once it appeared, there were hundreds and thousands of them, covering hundreds of thousands of kilometers. Every inch of the air gave off a destructive aura. Good timing. Xia Ping didn't dodge. He circulated the dark north body protection technique, and his entire body was wrapped up by a ball of blue energy. It quickly condensed into a dense law barrier, like a Kunping had entered his body. With his body as the center, a Kunping domain was formed, covering 1,000,000 kilometers. It was as if the entire space was wrapped up by an endless ocean. Ping ping ping. In an instant, hundreds and thousands of 8th metal tribulation thunder descended and were instantly wrapped up by the domain. No matter how terrifying the lightning was, it was easily digested and even devoured by the domain. Voila! Instantly, Xia Ping felt the enormous 8th metal tribulation thunder surge into his dantian, being refined by the solar furnace deep within his body. All impurities were removed, and only the purest lightning essence energy was left. The enormous lightning essence energy immediately surged into his limbs and bones, as well as his 9 purple mansions. With a thought, he discovered that his magic power had suddenly risen to the peak of the sempiternal realm. Even his 9 purple mansions were filled with the enormous energy. There was no space left. And seeing that the purple mansions were no longer able to contain the energy actually circled around and returned to his body, flowing into every cell in his body. In particular, the cells in his body that had been spatialized earlier were all devouring the energy like a whale nibbling away at its prey, leaving not a single drop behind. Are these spatial cells? Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He finally understood how powerful the near-ancient sage was. After reaching the near-ancient realm, they had completely comprehended the law of space, allowing every cell in their body to turn into space. It was completely unimaginable how much energy such a near-ancient sage could store. Moreover, he had the bloodline of the Golden Crow of Hell, and the cells of the Golden Crow of Hell flowed in his body. Every cell was more than 1,000 times larger than an ordinary cell, and the amount of energy they could store was even more terrifying. Dong dong dong. Before Xia Ping could think about it, terrifying metal tribulation lightning descended from the void. Each time, there would be hundreds or even thousands of them, and each of them contained enough power to kill ordinary undying demons. But when these lightning bolts landed on Xiaoping's body, they were rapidly refined by the solar furnace in his body. No matter how violent the lightning bolts were, under the refinement of the solar furnace, they were all submissive. Moreover, the magic power in his body was also rising, and the energy rapidly filled every single spatial cell in his body. Heavens, Lord Overlord is too terrifying. He's using the lightning tribulation to temper his body. He's looking down on the heavenly tribulation too much. He's practically treating it as nothing. As expected of Lord Overlord, the Overlord who unified the entire burning hell. He's truly not something we can imagine. So what if it's a mere heavenly tribulation? It won't be able to harm a single hair on Lord Overlord's body. In the distance, the many demons, nether ghosts, demons and other hell creatures were all incomparably excited when they saw this scene. They felt that their Lord Overlord was simply like a god. Countless hell creatures feared the heavenly tribulation, and they couldn't even dodge it in time. But Lord Overlord dared to face it head-on, and even directly devoured the lightning bolts to strengthen himself. What a magnificent feat! Chapter 23:10. It's full? Xiaoping ignored the demons of hell around him. He felt dozens of metal tribulation thunder bombarding down from the sky, and countless thunder energy essences were being devoured by him. His magic power was increasing crazily, almost to the peak, and his originally spatialized cells were all able to accommodate it. However, there was so much thunder energy that he could not fully accommodate it with his current body strength. By the way, I still have 3 spatial fruits on me. I can take advantage of this time to devour and refine them to improve the degree of my body's spatialization. Xiaoping suddenly remembered that he still had 3 spatial fruits that he had not devoured. They were obtained by the World Tree after he killed the 3 near-ancient demon saints of the Sirius clan. With a wave of his hand, he took out 3 spatial fruits of different sizes. Of the 3 near-ancient demon saints he killed, 1 was at the peak near-ancient demon saint, and the other 2 were at the middle near-ancient demon saint. The power of the law of space in the body of the peak near-ancient demon saint was more than 10 times that of the power of the law of space in the body of the middle near-ancient demon saint. Therefore, the spatial fruit refined by it contained more than 10 times the power of the law of space, and the effect was better. The power of the law of space in the middle near-ancient demon saint was also 10 times that of the law of space in the early near-ancient demon saint. It could be said that these 3 spatial fruits were much better than the spatial fruits Xiaoping took last time. Xiaoping did not hesitate and immediately devoured the 3 spatial fruits. Rumble, suddenly, the 3 spatial fruits entered his body and were quickly refined. Then, countless laws of space rushed into his limbs and bones, and the huge power of space was transforming his body. His cells were crystallizing and spatializing. Xiaoping's understanding of the law of space was increasing at a geometrical speed, and his understanding of the law of space was becoming more thorough. At this moment, a huge power of space was pouring into every cell in his body, just like when Pangu created the world. Every cell was like a chaotic world, and then it was opened by the power of Pangu, forming an independent small world. He felt that his body seemed to have countless dantian sea of qi, and countless cells could contain a huge amount of energy. Perhaps there was no concept of a dantian sea of qi, and every cell was a sea of qi. 35%. After a long time, Xiaoping felt that his body had completely devoured the spatial energy contained in the 3 spatial fruits, as well as the huge information of the law of space. He suddenly discovered that 35% of his cells had been spatialized. Xiaoping had a premonition that when all the cells in his body were fully spatialized, he would become a near-ancient sage. When 35% of the cells in his body were spatialized, he felt an extremely hungry aura coming from his body. Like a glutton, it desired to devour a huge amount of energy to satisfy its body. Right now, it was completely unimaginable how terrifying Xiaoping's current body was. It was simply like a bottomless pit. Originally, an ordinary spatial cell could contain as much energy as a dantian's qi sea. However, the golden crow hell cells in Xiaoping's body could contain more than 1,000 times more energy than an ordinary spatial cell. But now, 35% of his cells had spatialized. His body was like a black hole. No matter how much energy he devoured, he could not satisfy himself. Bang bang bang. As if sensing the increase in Xiaoping's aura, above the sky, the terrifying will of the universe became even more furious. Huge tribulation clouds surged, and billions of metal tribulation lightning descended, wanting to smash this monster into pieces. All the hell creatures were scared half to death. This was an attack that could destroy the world. The entire burning hell was trembling like an eggshell. It could be destroyed at any moment. They were so scared that they prostrated on the ground, not daring to look directly at it. Some dark ghosts even hid in the depths of the caves, not daring to come out. Any metal tribulation lightning that got close was enough to turn these Yin-type creatures into ashes. Good timing. Xiaoping was now bursting with power. The magic power in his body was so strong that it made people's hair stand on end. He already had a part of the power of an ancient saint, so he was not afraid of the power of the tribulation lightning. He directly rushed into the depths of the tribulation clouds, letting the lightning strike him and the tribulation lightning obliterate him. If it were an ordinary person, this would be stupid. It was basically suicide. As soon as he got close, he would be turned into ashes. Even an ancient saint would not be able to stop it. But Xiaoping was different. His body was too strong. It was like an indestructible body. His body was like a black hole that could devour all the energy in the world. Rumble! Suddenly, countless metal tribulation lightning came down like thunder dragons. But when the power of the tribulation lightning entered Xiaoping's body, it was immediately silent. It was as if it had been devoured by a black hole. There was no splash at all. The magic power in his body also increased crazily. Huge amounts of energy flowed into every spatial cell in his body. In the blink of an eye, 7 days and 7 nights passed. The 108 levels of metal tribulation lightning struck Xiaoping for 7 days and 7 nights. It almost razed the area within a radius of 10 million kilometers to the ground. There used to be many mountains in the surroundings, but now they were all gone. Huge pits were formed. The power of the tribulation lightning pierced through the ground. Endless water surged out from the depths of the ground, turning the place into an ocean. It looked blue and boundless. Even the power of the metal tribulation lightning spread out for 10 million kilometers. It seeped into every material in the place, even the ocean. It completely changed the energy attribute of the place, turning the place into a golden sea of lightning. Every drop of water in the sea contained the power of metal tribulation lightning. The soil, ores, and all sorts of minerals were corroded and stained with the attributes of the metal tribulation lightning. Everywhere was shining with golden light. It could be said that the tribulation wasn't just the power of the tribulation. It also contained the power of creation. Once it appeared, it would transform the place of tribulation into an unparalleled treasure land, giving birth to countless precious treasures. The 108 levels of tribulation lightning ended just like that. Too little. Really too little. Standing on the sea of lightning, Xiaoping opened his eyes. He was still a little dissatisfied. He had devoured 108 levels of metal tribulation lightning, but it still couldn't fill up the spatial cells in his body. It didn't even reach 10% of the cells in his body. His body was still sending him a message of hunger, eager to devour more pure energy. Even so, the heavenly tribulation had benefited him immensely. Not only had the magic power in his body increased tremendously, but the golden crow hell cells in his body had also awakened at a crazy rate. At this point he had awakened a total of 13 billion cells. It could be said that the current golden crow of hell bloodline was 30% richer than before. Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat. He found that after awakening 10 billion golden crow of hell cells, he seemed to have undergone an even more mysterious and unbelievable change. A mysterious bloodline power, with his body as the center, spread to the entire burning hell, corroding every hell creature in the burning hell. Chapter 23:11. When the bloodline power swept through every corner of the burning hell, the place closest to Xiaoping where the demons gathered immediately changed. Boom. A 3-meter-tall black demon wolf suddenly changed. Its body immediately expanded and all the muscles in its body swelled. It suddenly became 6 meters tall, and its strength was several times stronger than before. Its sharp claws became sharper and sharper, like treasured swords that could cut through iron as if it were mud. With a light scratch on the ground, it easily tore several terrifying cracks, causing the earth to crack. There was even a pair of scarlet wings growing out of its back. Its entire body was condensed from flames, and it seemed as though every feather contained a tyrannical flame power. With a light shake, the wings flapped wildly, immediately setting off a terrifying hurricane that swept in all directions, causing the surrounding mountains to collapse. At the same time, the scorching flames seemed to have turned into a flaming storm. My God, what happened? The surrounding demons were scared half to death. They had no idea what was going on. They quickly retreated, distancing themselves from the demon wolf that had suddenly changed. Their eyes were filled with shock and bewilderment. They all found that the demon wolf's strength was several times more terrifying than before. But the change did not end. It had just begun. A water demon lion in the distance seemed to have also changed. First, its body immediately expanded several times, becoming the size of a small mountain. Every inch of its muscles contained a terrifying magic power. Then a pair of black wings suddenly grew on its body, and every feather was filled with terrible black flames. This was the dark flames from hell. Then red scales grew on its body, and every scale contained a strong red flame. It was as if its entire body was wrapped in flames at this moment. With a bang, it looked up to the sky and let out an excited roar. With its body as the center, it immediately produced a terrifying sound wave that swept in all directions. The area within 1,000 miles was razed to the ground, and all the rocks were shattered. Most of the evil demons nearby were sent flying like rubber balls, unable to resist at all. Even violent flames surged out of its body, burning the earth. Its 4 hooves trampled on the ground, turning the soil within 100 miles into lava. The violent lava flowed on the ground, and thick smoke rose everywhere. What's going on? Why did this happen to the water demon lion? I don't know. I don't understand at all. I've lived for tens of thousands of years, but I've never seen anything like this. It's incredible. But it doesn't seem to be a bad thing. Instead, it's a good thing. Many of the demons were puzzled. They had no idea what was going on. If the demon wolf's mutation was an accident, then what was the reason for the water demon lion's mutation? And such a mutation was obviously of great benefit to the 2 demons. After all, his strength had increased by several times in an instant. Who wouldn't want such a change to happen? This was like a pie falling from the sky. It was truly unimaginable. Look, the rock demon. The rock demon is mutating as well. A demon roared as he looked at the mountain-like rock demon in the distance. The other party was like a giant that was 20 meters tall. Every inch of its muscles was formed from rock, revealing clear muscle veins. It was extremely valiant. Suddenly, the rock demon was surrounded by golden flames, shining brightly. It was like a giant with a height of 20 meters. Every inch of its muscles was made of rock, showing clear muscle lines. But now, the rock demon's entire body was surrounded by golden flames, emitting endless light. It was as if it had turned into a magma giant, controlling the powerful power of fire. At the same time, its eyes also changed dramatically. There seemed to be mysterious flame runes engraved in the depths of its pupils, as if there was a sun living in it. A mysterious golden rune also appeared on the rock demon's forehead. It seemed to make the rock demon's entire body stronger. Every rock was covered in gold. My strength has increased several times. I've broken through the limit of my bloodline and become a golden rock demon. The rock demon was excited and roared. With a thud, its huge fist slammed into the ground, immediately causing a terrifying destructive force. A terrifying earthquake occurred within a radius of thousands of kilometers, and terrifying sound waves spread in all directions. Suddenly, a terrifying crack stretched for thousands of kilometers, as if it was tearing the ground apart. Impossible, the rock demon broke through the limit of its bloodline. How is this possible? The demons were dumbfounded and could not believe their eyes. In hell, bloodlines were a factor that limited all demons. Although bloodlines couldn't limit a person's strength, they could limit the limits of a demon's strength. In other words, it was impossible for a low-class demon to become a middle-class demon or even a high-class demon. This was the so-called talent limitation. No matter how hard you worked, no matter how much effort you put in, your strength was limited. You would never be able to break through the limits of your race's bloodline. But now, this rock demon with ordinary strength could only achieve so much in its lifetime. It was impossible for it to advance any further. But at that moment, the strength of the rock golem suddenly increased by several times, breaking through the limits of its bloodline. No, it should be said that its bloodline had become even more terrifying. It was completely different from before, as if it had undergone a mutation. Look, nether ghosts. Those nether ghosts are also changing. Quite a few abyss devils screamed as they stared at the distant group of nether ghosts. The dark ghosts were a single race to begin with, and they could not mutate at all. They were just ghosts. But at this moment these nether ghosts were also changing. Their originally incorporeal bodies were now bursting with black flames. These were netherworld ghost flames that came from the depths of hell, and they contained a terrifying destructive power. Special black runes instantly poured into the bodies of these nether ghosts, giving them inconceivable power. The powerful netherworld ghost flames burned fiercely. Their bodies had almost become corporeal, as if they had bodies of flesh and blood. These nether ghosts immediately began to emit waves of coldness. With their bodies as the center, a terrifying ice storm appeared, freezing everything within thousands of kilometers. These netherworld ghost flames were cold flames that could freeze everything, even the soul. The demons were scared half to death. They retreated, not daring to get close to these nether ghosts. They were afraid that if they were corroded by the netherworld ghost flames, their souls would collapse and they would turn to ash. I know. Suddenly, an ancient abyss devil cried out in joy. This is a bloodline corrosion, a bloodline corrosion. It seemed to think of something, and its body began to tremble with excitement. It was almost unable to suppress its excitement. Chapter 23:12. Bloodline erosion? What do you mean by bloodline erosion? Many demons didn't understand this. They didn't know what it was either. It's an ancient legend, the ancient demon said excitedly. It said that in the depths of hell, there are some terrifying demons with the bloodline of gods and demons. These demons' bloodline power surpasses everything. They're the kings of all demons, true descendants of demon gods. Once such a descendant of a demon god appears, he'll be chased by countless creatures of hell. He'll willingly become his subordinate, offering his loyalty and never betraying him. Why would he willingly submit? Many demons were puzzled. As demons of hell, they were all arrogant and untamed. Unless the other party was stronger than them and could suppress them, they would never submit. Not to mention, they would willingly submit and become the other party's slave. The reason is simple. It's because of the bloodline of the demon god's descendants. The ancient demon clenched his fist. This bloodline power is of the highest level in hell. It's extremely invasive and can distort everything. If demons like us get close to the demon god's descendants, we'll immediately be affected by their bloodline and become their dependents. From then on, our bodies will be contaminated with a trace of the demon god's bloodline. Even if it's just a trace, it's an opportunity to change our fate. This kind of demon god's bloodline can allow low-level demons to advance to middle-level demons, middle-level demons to advance to high-level demons, and high-level demons to advance to peak-level demons, thereby breaking through the bloodline's restrictions. What? Hearing this, all the infernal demons were shocked, and boundless waves surged in their hearts. Merely staying by the side of a demon god's descendant would actually cause them to be corroded by the demon god's bloodline, and from there become his dependents, completely changing their fates. If they were low-level demons, they might only be able to reach the Golden Core realm or the Aspect realm their entire lives. But if they could become the dependents of a demon god's descendant and be contaminated with a trace of the demon god's bloodline, they might be able to raise their strength to the Lightning Tribulation realm or even become an immortal demon. If low-level demons could have such a fortuitous encounter, then what about middle-level demons and even high-level demons? The benefits they could obtain were simply unimaginable. It was no wonder that the appearance of a demon god's descendant would cause countless demons to crazily pledge their loyalty. This not only represented following a future ruler of hell, but it was also an opportunity to change their fate. It said that in the infernal realm, some of the more powerful infernal planes are ruled by the descendants of demon gods. The ancient abyss devil said solemnly, as a result, these abyss devils from the plains of hell have all become the kin of the demon god and broken through the limits of their bloodline. Their combat strength is several times stronger than other abyss devils of the same rank, and their potential is limitless. The reason why the demon wolves, water demon lions, rock demons, and dark ghosts underwent such strange changes is clearly because they were corroded by the demon god's bloodline and became the demon god's servants. It voiced its conjecture. In that case, our Lord is likely to be a true descendant of the demon god. Many demons were so excited that they could hardly contain themselves. It's not a possibility. There's no doubt that his lordship is a true descendant of the demon god. The ancient fiend devil roared. We're rich. We're rich. As long as we follow this Lord, we'll be able to ascend to the heavens in a single step. We'll become the rulers of hell. This Lord is the natural king of the infernal world, a natural ruler. Sooner or later, he will also stand at the peak of the infernal world, and we will also become the followers of the great devil god, sweeping through the heavens. It was incredibly excited. After living for so long, it finally had a chance to change its fate. Right now, this mighty descendant of the demon god was still not very powerful. It could only be said to have risen from the bottom, which was why it had the chance to follow such a mighty existence. If it could continue to follow this mighty descendant of the demon god, fighting all over the world, it would definitely become a mighty demon god one day, and its name would resound throughout the infernal world. Hurry, hurry and get closer to his lordship. It said that the closer you get to his lordship, the more your bloodline will be corroded, and the stronger your demon god's bloodline will be. A chance. This is a chance to ascend to the heavens in a single step. As long as I can get close to his lordship, even if I'm just a low-level demon god, I can become a demon god's follower that far surpasses the highest-level demon god. The eyes of the many demons and dark ghosts turned red, and they almost couldn't restrain themselves. As if on a pilgrimage, they madly rushed towards Xia Ping, trying to be corroded and infected by the demon god's bloodline. In the blink of an eye, 5 or 6 days passed. Over the past 5 or 6 days, the burning hell had been constantly changing. Every fiend, demon, and nether ghost had undergone a heaven-shaking transformation. Some of them had wings on their bodies, either golden or black. They had grasped the ability to fly, and some had even grasped the terrifying power of fire. With a light flap of their wings, they would create a boundless storm of fire. Some of the giant abyssal's bodies had become stronger, and a tyrannical power of fire had seeped into the depths of their bloodlines. Their entire bodies were set ablaze, and dense scales had even appeared on their bodies, making them indestructible. Moreover, they were incredibly strong, as if their bodies contained endless power. They could easily move mountains and drain seas. Some demons had elementalized, transforming into creatures of fire. Their bodies burned with terrifying flames, and wherever they went, the earth would be turned to lava. Not even a blade of grass would grow. They were equivalent to having half an immortal body, and ordinary demons couldn't kill them. Some demons' eyes had also changed. They seemed to gain all kinds of special abilities, making them extremely strange and mysterious. Some of the nether ghosts had also undergone inconceivable changes. They had also grasped the power of nether fire. Some of their bodies had even grown armor, while others had grown weapons. It was as if these dark ghosts had turned into true ghost generals. The strength of the burning hell's demons had increased several times over, and as time passed, the power of their bloodline was madly increasing. Sensing this change, these demons grew even more frenzied. They hurried towards Xia Ping's palace like they were on a pilgrimage. They knew that this was a chance to change their fate. As a result, the area around the palace was filled with infernal demons. Almost all the demons of the burning hell had come. The stronger the demon, the closer they were to the palace, the more bloodline corrosion they would receive, and the more power they would obtain. This excited the demons even more. However, they didn't dare to get too close to the palace of this lord of the demon god's descendant. They only stayed outside the palace as loyal guards. They were unprecedentedly loyal, completely different from before. Chapter 23:13. At this moment, Xia Ping was cultivating in a quiet room in the palace of the burning hell. I didn't expect the golden crow of hell bloodline to have such an effect. Xia Ping couldn't help but sigh as he thought about the changes that had happened in the burning hell over the past few days. When the golden crow of hell bloodline cells in his body had awakened 13 billion, the golden crow of hell bloodline in his body had become unbelievably dense. It had reached the level of corrupting reality. The majestic power of the bloodline that emanated from his body contained a powerful and mysterious transformation power. It was as if the life forms that came close to him would be forcefully corroded by the bloodline and become his dependents. He could even vaguely sense the various powerful hellish life forms that had become his dependents. It was as if these life forms had already become a part of his power. And every dependent was being corroded by his dark god curse. Perhaps the reason why his bloodline power was so terrifying was because of the dark god curse. After all, this curse could not only control all kinds of life forms, but it could also bring great benefits to countless life forms. They would be infected by the golden crow of hell bloodline, allowing them to break through the limits of their own bloodline. However, this bloodline corrosion power isn't limited to hellish life forms. Other life forms, such as humans, plants, and even inanimate objects like rocks, will be corroded by the bloodline. In the past few days, Xia Ping had been staying in the palace of the burning hell. He also discovered that the bloodline power in his body was unbelievably powerful. Even if he didn't deliberately control it, the formless influence of the bloodline was extremely shocking. Everywhere it went, countless life forms would change. The influence was so great that it covered the entire burning hell. Of course, the closer it was to his body, the more obvious the influence would be. The further away it was, the less the effect would be. Therefore, in order not to affect the various life forms in the space of the mountain river Pearl, he temporarily stayed in the burning hell until he could completely control the release of his bloodline power. Otherwise, when he moved around, the golden crow of hell bloodline in his body would spread everywhere, which would probably cause great trouble in the universe. System: does the golden crow of hell bloodline really have such an effect? It can make countless life forms become dependents of the golden crow of hell? Thinking of this, Xiaoping immediately asked the system. He wanted to know some of the secrets of the golden crow of hell bloodline. The system said, "That's right. This is indeed the effect of the golden crow of hell's bloodline. Although you didn't control it and just unconsciously released it, it still greatly affected these hell creatures, turning them into the golden crow of hell's kin. In fact, it's not just the golden crow of hell that has this kind of bloodline power. It should be said that every mythological beast or demon god has this kind of bloodline power that can corrode everything in the world and make them their dependents. This is the most fundamental power of a mythological beast, and it can change countless races in the world. It expressed that this was the true terror of the divine beast bloodline. Take the dragon clan for example. Their supreme existence was the ancestral dragon, the primogenitor of all dragons. All dragons were born through the ancestral dragon's bloodline. If the ancestral dragon's bloodline was rich, it would transform into all kinds of elemental dragons, heaven dragons, primordial dragons, and so on. These were all relatively powerful giant dragons of the dragon race, true high-end combat power. And these giant dragons also had the power of the ancestral dragon's bloodline to infect other creatures. Wherever a giant dragon existed, its dragon blood, dragon breath, and even dragon power could corrode everything in the world. Some originally ordinary creatures would also become various kinds of dragon subspecies because of the dragon power. They also became the vassal races of the dragon clan, becoming their dependents. However, the ancestral dragon's bloodline in these subspecies was too thin, so they lost the bloodline power to infect other races. They could only reproduce to pass down their bloodline from generation to generation. However, it was precisely because there were too many species of subspecies that many people also spread the rumor that if the dragons weren't so absurd, how could there be so many subspecies of dragons? In fact, this was just a rumor. After all, there were so many subspecies of dragons. Even if the dragons were really so absurd, plundering the beauties of various races day and night, it would still be impossible for them to give birth to so many descendants. The reason why there were so many subspecies of dragons was because of the erosion of the mythological beast's bloodline. Of course, it could not be denied that the dragons were vigorous. Even if they were not stud horses, ordinary races could not compare to them. Otherwise, this rumor would have appeared among the other mythological beasts instead of the dragons. Oh, by the way, the dragon scientist Titania I met before built a world to study dragon-blooded creatures. Could it be to study the mysteries of the true mythological beast's bloodline? Xiaoping suddenly remembered the dragon scientist Titania's laboratory he had encountered before. The power of the dragon blood was indeed extraordinary. Not only did it have a great effect on all kinds of creatures, but it also had a great corrosive effect on all kinds of matter in the universe. For example, after being eroded by dragon blood, stones would turn into dragon blood stones and become superior refining materials. At the same time, they would have various special attributes. Another example would be weeds. They were originally ordinary weeds, but after being eroded by dragon power, they would also turn into dragon blood grass. After consuming it, it would bring great benefits to all creatures in the universe. From this, one could imagine the power of the mythological beast's bloodline. In fact, it was not just the dragons. For example, because the phoenix's bloodline was extremely amazing, it also had many vassal races that had the subspecies bloodline. For example, the Chilan race also had many vassal races with many dependents. The black tortoise race, the vermilion bird race, and so on were the same. It could be said that every true mythological beast had countless living beings gathered around it. This was naturally formed, and in the end, a terrifying super race was formed. Even ordinary creatures would have limitless potential after being eroded by the mythological beast's bloodline. The infernal golden crows and even the descendants of the demon gods in hell clearly had the same ability. However, not all creatures could be called mythological beasts. Some creatures only had powerful combat strength, but could not develop into a race and undergo the erosion of bloodlines. For example, the Taotai, Qiongqi, and other creatures of the primordial 10 beasts did not have similar abilities. Therefore, they were far from being comparable to true mythological beasts. Perhaps that Titania has already reached an extremely high level and wants to study her own dragon bloodline. She wants to understand the origin of all dragons, and only then can she break through. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. He guessed what the dragon scientist Titania was thinking. Perhaps it was because this idea touched the taboo of the dragon race, causing her to be banished by the dragon race and hunted everywhere. However, this was just a thought. He was not very clear about the actual situation. After all, this matter was a bit distant from him and it had nothing to do with him. Chapter 23:14. Another few days passed. Xia Ping finally gained full control of his Golden Crow of Hell bloodline. He retracted all of the bloodline power into his body so that it wouldn't leak out and affect other living beings. At this time, the demons of the Burning Hell's mutation finally came to an end. They all became the Golden Crow of Hell's kin. Their mutations varied in size. In short, every hell creature received a different level of improvement. There were even 9 infernal demons who were stuck at the peak of tribulation lightning. Because of this, they immediately broke through and evolved, becoming Immortal Realm early-stage demons. They all became Xia Ping's commanders in the Burning Hell, responsible for leading countless hellish demons. Originally, with their bloodline and talent, they shouldn't have been able to reach the Immortal Realm. But because of Xia Ping's Golden Crow of Hell's bloodline, their bloodline was strengthened, allowing them to break through. It was as if their talent had increased by dozens of times in an instant. This made it much easier for them to break through. Therefore, these undying fiends were all loyal and devoted to Xia Ping. It's time to find a new plane of hell. Xia Ping hadn't forgotten his goal in coming to the Burning Hell. It was a pleasant surprise that his bloodline had improved, but his main goal was to reach the near-ancient sage realm. To achieve this goal, he needed to find a new plane of hell, kill more near-ancient demons, and refine them into spatial fruits. Luna. Thinking of this, he immediately contacted Luna with his mind. Master. Sensing Xia Ping's telepathic message, Luna's figure flickered, and she immediately appeared in front of Xia Ping. Where is the new plane of hell? What's it called? Xia Ping asked. Luna thought for a moment. My cadaveric bug clone has already arrived at the plane of hell and received some information. The plane of hell seems to be called the Scorched Hell. It's at least 1,000 times larger than the Burning Hell. Because of this, the demons of the Scorched Hell are much stronger than the Burning Hell. Before, the Burning Hell could only give birth to immortal demons, but the Scorched Hell can give birth to large numbers of them, and even near-ancient demons. Also, it's not very far from the Burning Hell, only about 100,000 light-years away. The reason why we haven't discovered it is because the hell storms in the void are too terrifying, and these demons are unable to leave the Scorched Hell. In fact, there was no communication between the planes of hell. Sometimes, it wasn't because they were too far apart, but because of the terrible hellish storms that blew between them. Such storms could easily tear apart even the saints of the near-ancient era. This was even more so for ordinary demons. This part of the void was simply a dead end, so many demons could only stay in their own territory and not leave easily. Only Luna's indestructible cadaveric bug clone could easily explore the hell plane in all directions. Even if it encountered a hell storm, it would follow the storm, which would speed up the cadaveric bug's exploration. Ancient demons? Seems like the Scorched Hell is really a good place. Hearing this, Xia Ping's eyes lit up. If he could conquer the Scorched Earth Hell, it would bring him a lot of benefits and he would be able to refine even more spatial fruits. Of course, he still needed to personally explore the Scorched Earth Hell to get more information. Alright, let's head to the Scorched Hell immediately. Xia Ping immediately acted without hesitation. There was no benefit in staying in the Scorched Hell anyway. The next day, Xia Ping and Luna steered the stars and left the Scorched Hell for the Scorched Hell. Boom. Once they left the Scorched Hell, the spaceship immediately entered the boundless void of the Hell world. It was not much different from the starry sky of the universe. There was nothing around it and it was like chaos. Whoosh whoosh. However, there were terrifying black holes everywhere in this void, and no one knew where they were connected to. Black hell monsoon kept blowing from the depths of these black holes, sweeping past without any pattern. It was as if every inch of the storm could destroy everything, and any matter would be shattered into pieces. If demons came to this void empty-handed, they would be killed by the hell monsoon in an instant, and not even ashes would be left. Bang bang bang. Terrifying black wind blades attacked from the void. There were thousands of them and they bombarded the stars in a frenzy, trying to cut the spaceship into ashes. However, the myriad stars' hull emitted layers of faint green barriers that were like spatial barriers, easily blocking the spatial wind blades. Fortunately, the stars had already been upgraded to a high-grade sacred artifact, and its defense was extremely strong. Even the hell monsoon could not destroy the stars. Even if it was slightly damaged, It would quickly regenerate and recover due to the star's vine's undying characteristics. What's this? Suddenly Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat. Layers of gray storms suddenly blew over from afar, emitting a terrifying aura. It seemed to freeze this void silently. This was completely different from the hell monsoon. There was no physical damage, but it was extremely strange and more lethal. Master, this is the soul-devouring storm. Luna had stayed in hell for a long time and had learned a lot about the hell world. It's also one of the most terrifying storms in the hell void. It's invisible and can penetrate all matter, destroying all demons' souls. Some powerful demons are not afraid of the hell monsoon, but they are afraid of the soul-devouring storm. Once they encounter it, they will die without a doubt. Rumble, in the blink of an eye, the soul-devouring storm blasted over, covering the entire sky and instantly enveloping the stars. The soul ripples that could penetrate all matter attempted to penetrate the stars and directly attack the living beings on the spaceship. However, this strange ripple was blocked by a thin layer of silvery white metal on the surface of the spaceship. It was the earthly soul mithril. It could block most soul attacks. It blocked it? Seeing this, Xiaoping laughed out loud. He was very happy. He had spent a lot of points to exchange for this universal treasure, the earthly soul mithril. It was indeed very useful. It was indeed a supreme treasure that could block soul attacks, and countless sages coveted it. If he did not have the earthly soul mithril, he would probably have to rely on his own cultivation to face this soul-devouring storm. However, with the earthly soul mithril covering the spaceship, it could easily block the strange power of the soul-devouring storm, isolating all the strange soul ripples outside the spaceship. It could be said that the stars could not only run amok in the mystic zones, but it could also run amok in the hell world. It was a powerful spaceship that could travel in any dangerous place. Chapter 23:15. A day passed in the blink of an eye. Under Luna's guidance, the stars set off towards scorched hell. They would probably arrive in a day's time. Although the hell monsoon in this void was very strong and would occasionally cause other disasters, with the stars' defense and speed, they could easily avoid it. Suddenly Xiaoping's eyes flashed coldly. He felt a terrifying killing intent and malice coming from the void in the distance. It seemed to cover a radius of billions of kilometers. Luna had the same feeling and immediately became alert. Whoosh! A black, tattered spaceship flew over from afar. It was like a ghost ship, extremely fast as if it was fleeing in a panic. It was heading towards Xiaoping. Behind the black spaceship, hundreds and thousands of grayish-white monsters appeared. These monsters had many terrifying tentacles and emitted evil, twisted, and dark auras. These monsters were extremely terrifying. They seemed to live in the void and even the hell monsoon could do nothing to them. What are these monsters? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He could sense how terrifying these monsters were. That was because on the black ship were 2 early near-ancient fiend devils, as well as 20 undying fiend devils. All of them were incredibly strong. However, facing these grayish-white monsters, they were so scared that they ran for their lives, not daring to stay. The black spaceship, which was originally extremely powerful, seemed to have become tattered under the attacks of these monsters, and was full of scars. Luna, do you know what these things are? Xiaoping looked at Luna. He felt that Luna must have some understanding of these monsters after staying in hell for so long. They are void monsters. Luna said in a low voice, her face also showing a hint of a serious expression. She said that these void monsters did not have any intelligence. Their souls were all messy and twisted. They only had the habits of killing and devouring. Once they encountered any living beings, they would immediately devour and tear them apart. It could be said that these void monsters were the true threat of hell. Countless demons had died in the mouths of these void monsters, becoming their fertilizer. No one knew where these void monsters came from. Some demons said that they might be the crystallization of evil power that came out from the crevices of hell. They were the amalgamation of all evil power and negative consciousness. There were also demons who said that this might be a descendant of the evil god, one of the main culprits that destroyed the infernal world. In short, these void monsters were a true threat to the hell void. Countless demons who wanted to go to other hell planes would be stopped by these void monsters. In fact, the stronger the hell plane, the more void monsters would be attracted to it. It was said that there were densely packed monster nests in the vicinity of some of the top hellish planes because the creatures of those hellish planes were extremely attractive to the void monsters. They didn't have any emotions at all, only the habit of chaos and slaughter. They were almost indestructible, and even if some were killed, some would be born somewhere else. Since ancient times there had never been a lack of void monsters. When Luna roamed the void of hell and searched for other planes of hell, she encountered these void monsters and had a tough battle with them. If it wasn't for her immortality, she might have died at the hands of these void monsters. Void monster. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He sensed that these void monsters' characteristics were similar to the zombie beast Luna. They were similarly crazy and twisted, without any intelligence, and were very difficult to kill. He couldn't help but guess that Luna's birth had something to do with these void monsters. Or how did Titania create Luna? It was extremely difficult to give birth to such an indestructible creature. Master, that black spaceship is flying over here. Should we avoid it? Luna said. Interesting. They saw us, so those demons are purposely looking at the spaceship? Xiaoping instantly laughed. There's no need to avoid it. Since they want to die, let them come together. We can also destroy these demons and the void monsters together. In the distance on the black spaceship, the atmosphere was filled with panic, fear, and other emotions. Faster, drive faster. Are you an idiot? Can't you see that the void monsters are catching up to us? When they really catch up to us, we'll all die. All of us, understand? Bullshit. You think I don't want to drive faster? This is already the fastest we can go. If we go any faster, this spaceship will completely fall apart. At that time, we won't even know how we died. Damn it, we're so unlucky. We've been hiding for a very long time, concealing our auras. Why did we still encounter these void monsters? If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have come out to find a new plane of hell. What pioneer? What overnight riches? What bullshit? Now that we're about to die, we'll all become fertilizer for the void monsters. The demons were all terrified. They felt that the end of the world was coming. Even as undying beings, they were helpless against these terrifying void monsters. Many of their comrades had already died in the hands of the void monsters. In fact, let alone undying beings, even ancient demons who had comprehended the laws of space were helpless against these monsters that were practically unkillable. Look, there's a spaceship ahead. All of a sudden, an undying demon noticed Xiaoping's stars and shouted while pointing ahead. Strange, what kind of spaceship is this? Why haven't I seen it before? Some demons were confused, expressing that they had never seen a spaceship like this in the void of hell. This spaceship looked too futuristic, much better than these broken spaceships. Who cares what spaceship it is? An ancient demon's eyes flashed coldly. It came at the right time. With this spaceship as a scapegoat, it will definitely become our scapegoat. Who knows, it might be able to stop these void monsters and give us a chance to escape. Many evil plans flashed through its mind. Ah, you're right. This spaceship came at the right time. Charge right now. Don't let that spaceship escape. With this mysterious spaceship as a scapegoat, we'll definitely be able to leave this damn place alive. Who knows, those void monsters might be full after eating that strange spaceship and stop chasing us. What are we waiting for? Let's go now. The many undying demons were excited, their eyes flashed with excitement as if they had found a way to survive. For demons like them, doing something like this was a normal thing, not even worth mentioning. And to survive, they would do anything. Chapter 23:16. Friend. At this time, a powerful mental wave came from the depths of the void. It was transmitted to every part of the ship, allowing Xiaoping and Luna to hear it clearly. At the same time, this voice also contained a powerful pressure and a tyrannical aura. I am Presco, an ancient demon. I am being chased by void monsters. If you can help me, I will repay you in the future. I have many treasures on me. If you save me, I will give you a share. The ancient demon Presco's voice rang out. Clearly, this demon was the captain of the black ship. He said that he had many treasures on him. If Xiaoping could save him, he would be rich. No need. Xiaoping said, I advise you to leave this place immediately. Don't draw the void monsters here. Otherwise, I will treat you as enemies and destroy you. How could he not know what this demon was trying to do? It was obviously asking him to be a scapegoat to help fight against the void monsters. Not to mention whether he could succeed or not, even if he succeeded and saved all these demons would probably not fulfill their promise. Betrayal was a common occurrence among demons, and they never kept their promises. Aunt, don't be so shameless. Don't think I don't know your strength just because you're hiding in the ship. I've already investigated you. You're probably only at the immortal rank and there are only 2 of you in the ship. Presco roared, With such low strength, you dare to be so arrogant in front of the great ancient demon? You dare to disobey my orders? You're courting death. I order you to immediately drive a spaceship over and block these void monsters, buying us some time to escape. Otherwise, before the void monsters kill you, I will immediately eliminate you and make you die without a complete corpse. He was furious. A mere immortal demon dared to put on airs in front of the great ancient demon. He would not even know how he died. In the world of demons, strength represented everything. Being stronger meant being superior to others. Low-level demons could not fight against high-level demons. But now, this immortal fiend was saying such things to an ancient fiend. If this wasn't disgraceful, then what was? It was so angry that its lungs almost exploded. If it wasn't for the void monster chasing after it, it would have torn this shameless undying demon into pieces, displaying its dignity as an ancient demon. Master, I want to kill them. Luna's eyes revealed a terrifying killing intent. These stupid demons actually dared to talk to their master like this. Just based on this tone alone, they should die dozens of times. Their souls should become her food and be tortured for countless years before they could die. There's no need for you to do anything. They're just some weak evil demons. Now's a good chance to test out the power of the stars. Xia Ping waved his hand, his expression indifferent. Of course, he wouldn't be so easily angered by these dying demons. However, if these demons wanted to die, he would grant them their wish. Ever since the multitude stars had been upgraded to a high-grade saint artifact, he had not tried out the spaceship's combat power. Now was the perfect time to test it out. Bloom, Constellation Vine. With a thought, Xia Ping injected the dermic powers in his body and activated the entire multi-star. Rumble. The originally normal-sized multi-star was now growing at a terrifying speed. Huge vines extended in all directions, becoming thicker and longer. In an instant, the entire multi-star turned into a towering universe-level undying plant. The true form of the constellation vine was also revealed to the demons. Meanwhile, Xia Ping and Luna stayed in a space deep in the core of the constellation vine. Tens of thousands of vines extended from its body, and each vine was tens of millions of kilometers long. Densely packed sawtooth appeared on the surface of the vines, like the teeth of a shark. They were responsible for cutting up all living creatures and killing enemies. Tens of thousands of vines were completely revealed. This also made the constellation vine's size extremely terrifying. Its current size was not any smaller than a super sun. It was unimaginable. An undying plant's size was actually comparable to a sun. Each vine easily covered hundreds of millions of kilometers. However, this was the true constellation vine, a terrifying plant that ate stars as food. Those demons were originally only tens of thousands of kilometers away from the multi-star. Now they were naturally engulfed by the constellation vine. Even the void monsters were the same. It was like some fish swimming in the ocean. The constellation vine was the ocean, while the undying demons and void monsters were the fish swimming in the ocean. No matter where they escaped to, they could not escape from the ocean. Xia Ping stayed inside the body of the constellation vines and looked down at the demons and void monsters trapped inside the constellation vines. This. Oh my God, what kind of monster is this? What did we encounter? What exactly did we encounter? You must be joking. A plant is actually bigger than a small hell plane. This is too exaggerated. How are we supposed to fight? Seeing the constellation vine completely reveal its form, all the undying demons were so scared that they peed their pants. Their faces were ashen. They could feel the powerful undying aura and dense life force coming from the plant. Even a single strand of aura was enough to make them shiver. Without a doubt, this plant was an apex predator. Its vines were able to cause ripples in the void of hell with a casual swipe, and its size was comparable to that of the sun. All of this was proof of its power. Presco, the ancient demon who had threatened to use Xia Ping as a shield, was now green in the face. How could he not know that he had kicked an iron plate? Without a doubt, the mysterious master of that ship was even more terrifying than the void monsters chasing after them. It's over, Captain. We're finished. How did we provoke such a monster? The undying demons' faces turned green. They wanted to drag a demon down with them, but they did not expect to provoke such a terrifying enemy. Originally, there was only the void monsters chasing after them, but now there was another powerful enemy. There was a wolf in front and a tiger behind. How would I know? How would I know that this would happen? Who would have thought that this spaceship was actually such a terrifying monster? It's completely unexpected. Presco clenched his fists, sweating profusely. If he had known about this, he would not have dared to threaten the other party. he would have run as far away as he could. Even though he was an ancient demon who comprehended the law of space, he did not have much confidence against such a terrifying plant. Chapter 23:17. Kill them. Xiaoping didn't waste time talking to these demons. He immediately gave an order to the constellation vine. Boom! In an instant, thousands of vines danced and smashed towards the demons. It was like a carnivorous flower. Be it the immortal demons or the ancient demons, they couldn't escape and were all wrapped up. Damn it, you want to kill us? You must be dreaming. Attack now. Kill this damn plant. We can't die here. We didn't even die after being chased by the void monsters for so long. How can we die in your hands? Scram. Scram now. The immortal demons and the two early ancient demons went berserk and roared. They could feel a fatal killing intent coming at them, permeating every corner of the void. Terrifying demonic energy surged in their bodies. They wanted to use all their strength to tear the vines of the plant apart. Unfortunately, it didn't work. The vines on the constellation vine were too huge. Each of them was as thick as a star, at least tens of millions of kilometers long. No matter how the demons struggled, they couldn't damage the vines at all. It was like cutting a tree with a knife. It was futile. All the attacks from the immortal demons felt like they were being massaged. They turned invisible and were easily blocked by the vines. Impossible. What kind of joke is this? Our attacks are useless. It's too big. This plant is simply too big. Its size alone is comparable to a small hell plane. How are we supposed to fight it? No matter how hard we try, we won't be able to destroy a single one of its vines. Before we can even make a single cut, the plant will rapidly recover. How can an immortal rank plant be so terrifying? Soul attack. Only soul attacks can deal with this plant. Penetrate its body and tear its soul apart. It's useless. I tried just now. Its body seems to be covered with a layer of special material. It can easily isolate soul ripples and make it immune to soul attacks. What kind of joke is this? How can there be such a monster in this world? It can't be harmed by physical attacks, but is immune to soul attacks? Isn't it invincible? How is this possible? All the evil demons crumbled and fell into complete despair. They had never encountered such an opponent before. They were simply helpless and had no way to deal with him. Boom! Without waiting for them to speak, the constellation vine closed up, and thousands of vines crazily compressed, squeezing and strangling these demons. Bang bang bang. In the blink of an eye, the undying fiends and ancient fiends were smashed to pieces. Their bones were crushed, their muscles turned to mush. Every inch of their body was crushed. They couldn't even hold on for a second, and at the same time, they let out shrill screams. With just a single strike, all of them, including the ancient demon Presco, were crushed to death. Even their souls were torn to shreds. Very strong. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. This was the first time he had seen the constellation vine unleash its full power. It was indeed incomparably domineering, completely enveloping the enemy and instantly killing them, crushing them into minced meat. No matter how these enemies struggled, they were unable to escape from the constellation vine's predatory domain. After all, the size of the constellation vines was simply too big, like the sun. Moreover, they possessed an indestructible body. Even if one of them was killed, it would not take long for it to regrow. Just one vine was already so terrifying, and there were tens of thousands of vines on its body. How could it be killed? Most likely, even if these fiends exhausted themselves to death, they still wouldn't be able to kill the constellation vines. The constellation vines originally had a weakness, which was their souls. The reason why the constellation vines had been killed by the human race sage was because that human race sage had used a soul attack through the constellation vine's main body, shattering its soul. The problem was that it was now covered in Earth Soul Mithril, and its weakness had been completely covered. Right now, its body was immune to most soul attacks. This was an unshakable super fortress that could sweep through everything. If the constellation vines were to meet that human race sage again, it would be hard to tell who would win. So, thinking of this, Xiaoping didn't hesitate. He waved his hand and immediately collected the scattered fiend's flesh and blood, handing them to the world tree to devour. These were all important ingredients that could be refined into undying fruits and spatial fruits. They couldn't be wasted. Right, there are also these void monsters. He looked at the thousands of void monsters that were attacking from afar. They let out deafening soul roars, seemingly ignoring most matter and directly penetrating into the souls of living beings. Ordinary fiends wouldn't be able to withstand such soul roars at all. In an instant they would bleed from their 7 orifices. Even those with powerful souls would feel dizzy and temporarily lose consciousness. It was a pity that these void monsters weren't strong enough. When these strange soul waves came to the constellation vine's main body, they were immediately isolated by the Earth Soul Mithril. Strangle. With a single thought, Xiaoping made the constellation vines attack once more. The tens of thousands of vines danced like super monsters, bringing forth endless gales and stirring up origin energy. It was as though even this space couldn't withstand such a mighty force. Moreover, within each super vine, there were over 100 million smaller vines that were like densely packed roots. They contained endless sharpness and penetrative power. These millions of roots were like millions of sword cheese, blasting towards the void monsters at a speed that surpassed 1,000 times that of sound. They were simply indestructible. Bang bang bang. In an instant, before the thousands of void monsters could even get close, they were torn into countless pieces. Their bodies were riddled with holes, leaving only a pile of minced meat in the void. However, these void monsters weren't dead yet. The scattered minced meat was still wriggling crazily, as though they wanted to gather again and form a new body. They're still not dead? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. At this moment he finally felt how terrifying these void monsters were. Their combat strength wasn't much stronger than sages of the same level. It was just that they were too hard to kill. Even if they were beaten into a molecular state, they had extremely powerful recovery ability. They were 100 times more terrifying than the undying bodies of ordinary undying sages. Interesting, I want to see what the essence of these void monsters are. Thinking of this, Xiaoping activated the infernal golden crow eye. His 2 eyes slowly rotated. One was the eye of hell, the other was the golden crow eye. When the 2 eyes combined, he could see through all the mysteries of the world. No illusions could obstruct him. Boom. Instantly his body shook. His terrifying gaze pierced through the bodies of these void monsters, penetrating their essence and seeing the souls in the depths of their bodies. What exactly are these things? Xiaoping found it hard to believe. Chapter 23:18. From the depths of these void monsters, what entered Xiaoping's eyes was a black distorted soul. This soul was completely different from humans, demons, elementals, abyssal monsters, and even demons. It was as if it was a species from a different universe. That distorted soul seemed to be filled with black sin. Its entire body seemed to be condensed from black liquid, emitting darkness, chaos, distortion, madness, and many other auras. Generally speaking, the souls of ordinary living beings, even abyssal demons, hellish demons, and other living beings, even if their souls looked dark, they were orderly. Because there was order, they could maintain their sense of self. They had their own independent souls and could think independently. This was how life's intelligence was born. But these void monsters were different. They were chaotic and distorted existences without any consciousness. Their souls were filled with killing, devouring, and other desires. It was as if these void monsters were creatures condensed from all kinds of desires. They were chaotic aggregations, indescribable things. No wonder these void monsters are so hard to kill. Xiaoping also understood why these void monsters were so hard to kill and became a huge problem for many demonic creatures. As everyone knew, the soul was equivalent to a very precise super instrument. As long as one part was damaged, the entire soul would collapse. So if the soul of an ordinary living being was damaged, it would quickly die. But these void monsters were different. They had no consciousness and were pure aggregations of sin. Even if they were destroyed, as long as their souls weren't completely destroyed, they could quickly regenerate. So, not only could they regenerate their flesh, but their souls could also regenerate. As long as there was no way to instantly destroy these void monsters' souls, they would constantly regenerate. Countless demons were like this. Even if their combat strength was the same, they would still be exhausted to death by these void monsters. Whooshed, while Xiaoping was thinking, the flesh and blood of these void monsters wriggled and actually gathered together again. The original 1,000 void monsters had now turned into 100 void monsters. Although their numbers had decreased, each void monster's strength had increased by a little. This was also one of the reasons why void monsters were so terrifying. If one were to smash them into pieces, not only would they not die, but they would also fuse together due to the stimulation of life and death, increasing their strength by several times. If their bodies were destroyed countless times, they would condense into a super monster. That kind of strength would increase at a geometrical rate, and even the saints of the Middle Ages would be killed by it. Looks like the 1,000 Stars vine won't be able to kill them. The only way to kill these void monsters is to use the infernal golden crow flames. Xia Ping could see that ordinary methods wouldn't be able to kill these void monsters. If even the infernal golden crow flames couldn't kill these void monsters, then he could only run. In an instant, Xia Ping's silhouette flashed as he activated the golden crow of hell bloodline in his body. He immediately slapped out with his palm, and a terrifying golden crow of hell claw condensed in the void, spanning tens of millions of kilometers. In an instant, the infernal golden crow claw condensed from flames captured the hundreds of void monsters. Boom! In an instant, a terrifying dark golden flame surged out from the depths of the giant claw and quickly covered the bodies of these void monsters. The void monsters that were originally fearless and only possessed a chaotic consciousness were now feeling fearful emotions, as though they could feel the fatal threat of the flames. The void monsters wanted to escape and leave this dangerous place. However, it was already too late. The massive infernal golden crow flames covered the bodies of these void monsters. It was as though the flames had come into contact with fuel oil, rapidly burning them up. And the dark energy and sinful souls of these void monsters were the best fuel for the infernal golden crow flames. This caused the might of the infernal golden crow flames to increase by several folds. It's indeed useful. Seeing this, Xia Ping revealed an excited expression. The infernal golden crow flames were indeed the supreme heavenly flames. It reigned over everything and was a terrifying flame that could only be born from the depths of hell. Even these void monsters wouldn't be able to withstand such a flame. No, perhaps it wasn't as simple as being unable to withstand it. It was simply the nemesis of these void monsters. Walala, in just a few breaths' time, the originally undying and indestructible void monsters were completely incinerated. Even their souls were devoured by these flames. No, it wasn't that there was nothing left. After these void monsters were completely incinerated, piles of black matter were left in the void. They emitted a dark and pure aura, as though they were the most fundamental dark energy. What's this? Xia Ping blinked his eyes and looked at the piles of black matter that were left behind. At this moment his heart shook. The world tree in the depths of his sea of consciousness transmitted a desire to devour to him. It seemed to have an extreme desire for this dark matter, even more so than the flesh and blood of the immortal demons and ancient demons that it had devoured previously. It simply wanted to devour it immediately as though it had encountered the most delicious food. What's this? Xia Ping asked the world tree. Then, a thought rapidly transmitted from the world tree. He raised his eyebrows and said, "What? You're saying that this is fertilizer, the highest grade of fertilizer in the universe?" He still didn't know what this was, but according to the world tree, this dark matter would be of great benefit to the growth of the world tree. However, even the world tree couldn't kill these void monsters. Only the infernal golden crow flames could kill them and incinerate all the sins of these void monsters. It could be said that the world tree and the infernal golden crow were two species that complemented each other. The infernal golden crow was responsible for killing all kinds of creatures to provide fertilizer for the world tree. Meanwhile, the world tree would also grow many strange fruits to provide for the growth of the infernal golden crow. Forget it, since you need it, then take it. Xia Ping didn't continue to pay attention to it. In any case, there were many of these void monsters in the infernal world. In the future, there would always be a chance to find out what exactly these things were. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Hearing this, countless roots immediately grew from the world tree and instantly appeared on the dark matter, crazily absorbing the most delicious fertilizer. Rumble. After obtaining this fertilizer, the world tree seemed to have grown tremendously. It had obtained unparalleled benefits and its huge body continued to grow and grow. There were even more profound world runes appearing in the depths of each leaf. It was as if each leaf was a supreme scripture. Chapter 23:19. It's growing so fast? Xia Ping raised an eyebrow. He sensed that the world tree in the depths of his consciousness was growing too fast. It seemed to have benefited even more than when it devoured dozens of immortal demons and ancient demons. Evidently, the dark matter left behind by the void monsters was greatly beneficial to the world tree's growth. He could sense that the world tree's body was surging with even more mysterious power, as if many mysterious god art powers were born in the depths of its body. Now, not only could the world tree bear mysterious fruits, but every leaf and branch on its body was also a rare treasure that contained endless mysteries. Even the world tree's body was transmitting turbulent energy to him, helping him to continuously increase the magic power in his body. He sensed that the world tree had also grown to a greater extent. Its power had more than doubled, and dense mysterious runes had also appeared on its trunk. Vaguely, it began to emit an aura that could suppress the heavens. This black spaceship is not bad. Soon Xiaoping no longer paid attention to the world tree. He turned his gaze to the black spaceship left behind by the demons. Even with his picky eyes, he could see that this black spaceship was precious. This was because the technological level of the infernal world was actually far inferior to the cosmic world he was in. Just the various technologies of the spaceship alone surpassed the infernal world by who knew how many light years. However, this black spaceship could actually travel in the void, avoid countless cosmic disasters, and explore the various infernal plane worlds. This was enough to prove how amazing this black spaceship was. Of course, this was not a compliment to the black spaceship's technological level. It was purely because the black spaceship's materials were more powerful. Just what material is this made of? Xiaoping stroked his chin. He probed with his divine sense and covered the entire black spaceship. It seemed that every wood and every skeleton contained mysterious infernal energy. Moreover, the black spaceship's power was condensed into one. Even though it was battered by the void monsters, it still showed no signs of collapsing. It could even continuously repair the damaged parts. If it was given a certain amount of time, this black spaceship would probably be able to recover to its original state. Obviously, this black spaceship must have been refined from some special material in hell, which allowed it to easily travel through the void of hell and avoid many disasters. Forget it. No matter what material it's made of, it's definitely a treasure. Let's give it to Xiaojin to eat. Xiaoping instinctively felt that this spaceship would definitely benefit greatly after being eaten by the golden slime. If the golden slimes wanted to grow quickly, they would need to devour large amounts of rare ores and materials. He made a grabbing motion with his large hand, immediately grabbing the black flying ship and placing it into the mountain river pearl space. Then he sent a telepathic message to the golden slime, telling her to come and eat it. Let's go. In a flash, Xiaoping returned to the stars. At the same time, the myriad stars swiftly returned to its original state, retracting all the vines and returning to the state of a spaceship. No one knew how ferocious the monster was just now that it could easily kill an immortal devil or even an ancient devil. A day later, the myriad stars finally arrived at Scorched Hell. They did not encounter any more void monsters or other devils. The journey was safe and uneventful. After all, hell was just too vast. Until now, no one knew what the end of hell looked like. In such a huge void world, to encounter those terrifying void monsters and other devils that came out to explore hell's plane required a certain degree of luck, or rather bad luck. This is Scorched Hell? In the distant void, Xiaoping stood on the myriad stars and looked at a plain world in the distance. It looked like an egg and was completely red. However, it was so huge that it could be said to be boundless. Yes, this is indeed Scorched Hell. Luna nodded. My cadaveric bug clone sent a telepathic message. They're hiding in this plane. Seems like this plane is indeed more powerful than the burning hell. Xiaoping squinted his eyes. To be honest, just looking at it with his naked eye, this scorched hell was more than 1,000 times larger than the burning hell. Moreover, the power of hell's origin it contained was also countless times denser. It was no wonder that it could nurture countless powerful devils. With such a favorable environment, there must be many powerful near-ancient devils in this scorched hell. If he could kill all these near-ancient devils and refine them into space fruits, his cultivation would definitely improve by leaps and bounds, and he would ascend to the realm of near-ancient sages. This was also the purpose of his trip to Scorched Hell. Master, what should we do next? Luna looked at Xiaoping. Well, don't be anxious. Let's go into Scorched Hell to look for some information first. Let's see how many powerful devils there are in this Scorched Hell. We'll deal with them later. Xiaoping was not anxious. As the saying went, know yourself and know your enemy and you will always be victorious. If he were to rashly enter an unfamiliar place, wouldn't it be disastrous if there were any terrifying demons in this plane of hell, or if there were any special and powerful means? He was very confident in his strength, but he would not be arrogant. In history, who knew how many powerhouses were too arrogant and were overturned by some small fry? Therefore, no matter how cautious he was at this time, it was never too much. Let's go in, Corinne. Remember to hide. Xiaoping said to Corinne. Okay. Activate the stealth system, weapon system, and static flight system. Corinne gave a series of instructions to the stars. The numerous stars immediately flew toward the scorched hell. The entire spaceship was silent, and it entered the dimensional barrier of the scorched hell in an instant while in an invisible state. The spaceship had to be invisible too. After all, the powerful devils that controlled scorched hell were extremely sensitive to hell's plane barrier. If a visitor from outer space entered scorched hell, they might be discovered. Especially the near-ancient devils, their understanding of the spatial laws had reached an extremely profound level. However, the stars, which had already been upgraded to a high-grade sacred artifact, could easily hide in the void without emitting any spatial ripples. No matter how sensitive the devil's senses were, they should not be able to discover the stars' whereabouts. Moreover, it was normal for them to be so careful. They did not want to cause a commotion right after entering scorched hell, and they would think that they were demons from outer space and kill them. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, the stars silently penetrated the dimensional barrier and entered scorched hell without alerting any of the demons in scorched hell. Chapter 23:20. Scorched Hell, Scarlet Plains. The plains stretched as far as the eye could see. The ground was the color of blood and there were cracks everywhere. It was as if the earth had completely dried up, and a deathly stillness pervaded the air. At a glance, there was no sign of life at all. Vaguely, there seemed to be blood flowing in the soil of the Scarlet Plains, emitting a sinister aura. It was as if the blood had a life of its own. But even in such a deathly stillness, there were still two forces fighting on the Scarlet Plains. The bitter battle was unstoppable. On one side were the frost demons. As they walked, they emitted a terrifying chill, as if everything within 10 million kilometers had been frozen into an icy plain. On the other hand, there were lava demons. Their bodies were formed from lava, and their bodies constantly emitted scorching lava. They gave off a sulfuric smell, and everywhere they went they burned everything. The land within billions of miles turned into a world of lava, bringing about endless destruction. The two forces were almost evenly matched. 4 undying demons and 10 million ordinary demons were fighting, causing the sky to fall and the earth to crack. Waves of power collided in the air, erupting with earth-shattering sounds. The battle of ice and fire seemed to shatter the Scarlet Plains. Kiki, foolish frost demons, you dare come here to fight for the Scarlet Plains? You overestimate yourselves. Who doesn't know that you frost demons are countered by us lava demons? You still dare to provoke us? You're courting death. An undying lava demon cackled. Ignorant fools. Another undying frost demon sneered. Lava can melt ice, but the cold can also freeze lava and extinguish flames. In the face of absolute low temperatures, no flames can do anything. We frost demons are the true rulers of the scorched hell. Everywhere we go, we bring eternal death to countless demons. Absolute low temperatures? What absolute low temperatures? Looks like you frost demons are all frozen into idiots. You don't even know how to think. In the face of endless lava, all temperatures will rise, and all objects will be burned to ashes. We'll bring endless destruction to the scorched hell, a calamity of the apocalypse. In the scorched hell, we lava demons are the true rulers. Cut the crap. Let's see who can occupy the Scarlet Plain. It's time for you lava demons to completely retreat from the Scarlet Plain. This place will be renamed the Frozen Plain. Shameless boasting. Let's see if you can still be so arrogant after I burn off your head. The undying fiends roared, circulating their fiend power. The power of ice and fire clashed against each other, erupting with terrifying power. A terrifying explosion occurred within a radius of 1,000,000 kilometers, as if the entire plane was going to be destroyed. However, right at this moment, a silvery white ball of energy flew over from the depths of the sky. Its speed was inconceivably fast, and in an instant, it descended above the demons looking down from above. What is that? When the undying fiends saw this, they were startled. They instinctively sensed that an uninvited guest had arrived. They stopped fighting and looked at this guest warily. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The silver energy dissipated, revealing 2 figures in front of the demons. It was Xiaoping and Luna. They'd finally reached the depths of the scorched hell. Then they saw many fiends fighting, so they came here to ask these fiends about the scorched hell. What fiends are you? The fiends on both sides looked at Xiaoping and Luna warily. They instinctively sensed that these 2 uninvited guests weren't ordinary. After all, fiends were very cautious. These 2 uninvited guests had clearly seen them fighting, and yet they still dared to come so brazenly. One could imagine how confident they were. If they didn't have absolute power, they wouldn't dare to do something so suicidal. I'm burning Devil Fengdu, the emissary of hell. Ping introduced himself and said carelessly, "What I hate the most in my life is senseless killing and war. It will only bring pain and disaster. It is not good for any demon. Why don't you both temporarily stop fighting and have a truce? Everyone can sit down and drink tea, eat and chat. Isn't that great? What do you all think?" Emissary of Peace. Hearing this, the fiends' mouths twitched. They looked at Ping as if he was an idiot. Was there such a thing as an emissary of peace in hell? Was there something wrong with this fiend's head? Moreover, this guy hated killing and war. Fuck, which day in hell didn't have killing and war? He even said they should stop fighting, sit down and drink tea and chat. This was bullshit. It was good enough that fiends didn't fight to the death, but he wanted to sit down and drink tea and chat. What did he think they were? If they didn't kill, fight, how could they still be considered fiends? Scram. An undying lava demon shouted angrily. "Where did this idiot come from? How dare you talk nonsense here? What we do has nothing to do with you. Why are you meddling in other people's business? Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." It had a bad temper and would kill at the slightest disagreement. Boom. In an instant, the immortal lava demon's figure flashed, and it punched out. Terrifying lava erupted from its body, as if every drop of lava contained terrifying destructive power that could burn everything within 100 miles to ashes. Ordinary fiends would be burned to ashes even if they touched it lightly. It was easy to imagine how terrifying this lava demon was. It was definitely one of the most destructive fiends in scorched earth hell. Countless fiends would tremble in fear at the mention of its name. All the low-level fiends could feel how terrifying this punch was. It contained undying might. Even an undying fiend would be heavily injured if hit. It was as if all of the power of hell had been gathered in the lava demon's fist, and then it exploded out. But Ping just smiled and didn't dodge. He just stretched out a hand. Dong. The palm landed on the undying lava demon's fist. Suddenly, all the power seemed to vanish as if it had melted into the depths of the sea. Even the terrifying power of the magma was devoured cleanly, and it didn't cause any waves. Impossible. The undying lava demon was stunned. It couldn't believe its eyes. It saw its fist land on the strange fiend's palm, but the fiend didn't move at all. It was like a boulder. It couldn't believe that its punch had no effect. It was too unbelievable. Chapter 23-21. This. You must be joking. Cole's full-powered punch can't kill this bullshit Fengdu. Not only can it not be killed, it can't move at all. All its power has turned into nothingness. What is this Fengdu's background? When the demons saw this, they were even more shocked than the undying lava devil Cole. They had fought Cole for countless years, so naturally, no one knew Cole's strength better than them. Even if Cole wasn't the strongest, he was still one of the top. But now, Cole's full-powered punch was easily blocked by Fengdu. What kind of joke was this? In scorched earth hell, they had never heard of an undying demon called Fengdu. Damn, I don't believe you're so strong that I can't kill you. The undying lava devil roared. It was completely enraged and wanted to attack again. However, it was horrified to find that its fist had been grabbed by this person. Moreover, a terrifying magic power seemed to have formed a domain and restrained it. This power instantly suppressed it completely. Its body couldn't move at all, and a terrifying flame power was transmitted from the other party's palm, making its heart palpitate. Its fist was also clenched to the point of cracking, as if it was about to break. Benefactor, there's no need to be so hot-tempered. Killing won't solve any problems. It will only make your heart feel endless emptiness and loneliness. You should let go of the butcher's knife and become a Buddha. Only by letting go can you attain the Tao. Ping advised sincerely, bemoaning the state of the universe and pitying mankind. Let go immediately. The undying lava devil screamed because it discovered that this damnable Fengdu's hand was emitting a terrifying flame power. It seemed like it could even burn souls to ashes. Even the undying body couldn't resist it. It smelled the scent of death and couldn't help but scream. Letting go isn't a problem. The problem is, do you know your mistakes? Do you know where you went wrong? Ping asked. I was wrong, I know I was wrong, really wrong. Let go. For the sake of survival, the immortal molten devil Cole couldn't care less about anything else and hurriedly shouted. In short, getting this hateful character to release him was the most important thing right now. Nothing is better than being able to correct one's mistakes. It seems that even though killing is second nature to you, committing all sorts of evil deeds and killing people like scything flax, you can still be saved. Hearing this, Ping was very satisfied. But before the immortal molten fiend Cole could rejoice, a terrifying dark golden flame instantly enveloped his body, using every cell in his body as fuel and burning fiercely. No, no, no. Undying demon Cole screamed in fear, continuously struggling. He felt a stabbing pain all over his body as if he was being tortured. Even his soul was being burned by the flames. However, no matter how much it struggled, it was of no use. After a breath of time, its entire body was burned into a pile of residue, disappearing from this world, and its screams came to an abrupt end. Bastard! Bitch! Seeing undying demon Cole's death, the other immortal molten devil couldn't restrain its anger. It simply wanted to go crazy and tear this guy into pieces. The two undying frost devils' hair stood on end. This guy was a true demon, forcing others to admit their mistakes and then killing them. This was simply toying with people's hearts. They could feel demon Cole's despair and grief. He thought that he had a chance to survive, but before he could rejoice, he died in the next second. How sullen was this? You actually dared to kill Cole. You're trying to start a war. My molten devil race definitely won't let you off. Even if you hide in the depths of hell, you still have to die, understand? He glared at Xia Ping. Benefactor, please calm down. I didn't kill him, I was only purifying his sins. Moreover, he didn't die, he only ascended to the pure land of bliss. Death isn't the end, it's a new life. Xia Ping bemoaned the state of the universe. Knew your sister. This is hell, where else can you go? I'll kill you. The undying molten devil went crazy. It didn't care about anything else and immediately attacked Xia Ping. It didn't want to listen to this bastard's nonsense. Attack, kill him. This Fengdu is too dangerous, we have to kill him. The two undying frost devils glanced at each other, seeing each other's determination. Although they were enemies with the molten devils before, facing an even stronger and more terrifying enemy, it wasn't impossible for them to work together. If they didn't kill this terrifying Fengdu, they would probably die here. Especially that strange flame that burned the molten devils to death, it made their hair stand on end. They felt a great threat, so this Fengdu had to die. Frozen hell. Absolute freeze. The two ice frost demons immediately attacked. They unleashed their most powerful abilities in an instant. Powerful ice-type abilities surged out of their bodies, and the area within a radius of billions of kilometers was instantly enveloped by a terrifying chill. The blood plains seemed to be frozen by the cold air. The cold air seemed to be able to corrode all life force, and it surged towards Xia Ping, trying to rob him of his life force. Sai, looks like you're all evil and hard to tame. Forget it, if I don't go to hell, who will? I'll send you on your way. Xia Ping shook his head, sighed and slapped out with his palm. Boom. The palm was earth-shattering. Vaguely, the image of a golden crow of hell appeared behind him, drawing upon the boundless origin power of hell, emitting a terrifying divine might. A dark golden claw extended out of the void, as if it had walked out from the ancient times. It contained great, chaotic and unfathomable power, capable of shaking the world. The two undying frost devils and the undying molten devil were all struck by the dark golden claw. It was like an eagle's claw grabbing a chicken. One claw, just one claw. Dong. The three undying demons were crushed, unable to resist at all. Their bodies were slammed into the ground, instantly raising everything within a radius of billions of kilometers to the ground. Immediately, a terrifying dark golden claw mark appeared on the blood plains. Each claw mark extended for tens of millions of kilometers, making crackling sounds as countless rocks were shattered. The demon soldiers also couldn't endure such power and were blasted into bloody mist. They couldn't endure the battle between undying demons, not even the shockwaves. Crap, I used too much strength. I wanted to capture a few demons to get some information. Don't tell me they're all dead. Xia Ping felt that he had miscalculated. Don't worry, master, there's still one undying molten devil that's not dead. We can capture it and interrogate it. Luna said. Hearing this, the undying molten devil shuddered, wishing that it could die right there and then. Chapter 23-22. 2 hours later. Xia Ping interrogated the undying lava demon for 2 hours and finally learned some information about the Scorched Earth Hell. The Scorched Hell was divided into 13 major factions, each of which occupied a total of 13 regions. The leaders of these factions were near-ancient realm demons. In other words, there were 13 near-ancient demons in the Scorched Earth Hell. These demons also had many powerful subordinates. In total, there were at least 300 undying demons. It could be said that the scorched earth hell was thousands of times stronger than the original burning hell. Just the appearance of a near-ancient demon was enough to sweep the original burning hell. These 13 near-ancient demons also occupied a portion of the scorched earth hell's origin. They fought and killed each other, trying to steal each other's hell origin and become the master of the scorched earth hell. Over the course of billions of years, the scorched earth hell had experienced countless battles. If it wasn't for the fact that the scorched earth hell was extremely sturdy, the entire plane would have been destroyed. Interesting. Xiaoping rubbed his chin, his eyes shining. In other words, if he could kill all of the fiend devils in the hells of scorched lands and refine them into spatial fruits, then he would be able to enter the ancient realm and gain enlightenment of the magical laws of space. If it was before, he might not be able to withstand the combined assault of 13 ancient fiends and 300 immortal fiends. But now, his Golden Crow Hell bloodline had awakened 13 billion Golden Crow Hell cells, and his body had been spatialized by 20 to 30%. He was much stronger than before. With his current strength, he could easily sweep through the scorched earth hell's demons and steal the hell's origin. Yes. The undying lava demon stared at Xiaoping. I advise you to release me immediately. We've already sent out a distress signal and notified the lava overlord. It'll come immediately. I'm the overlord's general. If it sees me like this, it'll be furious. You'll die a horrible death. If you release me now and let me leave unscathed, I might be able to plead for you in front of Sir Overlord to spare your life. At least you won't die without a complete corpse. During the battle just now, it had been very careful and had promptly activated the secret technique of hell, the Hell Communication Talisman. A black talisman soundlessly traversed the void for billions of miles, sending a distress signal back to the lava territory. He believed that by this time, the signal had already been received by Sir Overlord, and reinforcements would soon arrive. That's right, I have also informed Sir Frost Lord. An immortal frost demon next to him cried out. It had just taken a swipe from Xiaoping, but thanks to its tenacious vitality, it was still breathing. Unfortunately, its companion wasn't as lucky. It was crushed to death with a single claw, and its soul aura had completely dissipated. Just you wait. His lordship will arrive soon. When the two lordships arrive at the same time, you won't be able to escape death even if you hide at the ends of hell. You might be able to stop one lord, but do you think you can stop two lords? The undying frost devil was trying to scare Xiaoping. It wasn't just the lava devil that was smart, it wasn't bad either. Sensing Xiaoping's terrifying strength, it had no reason not to ask for help. Unfortunately, it had no chance to escape and was instantly crippled. One of its companions had been killed, and most of the other demons had been killed by the shockwaves of the battle. When he thought of this, his heart ached. Most of the Infernal Realm's elites had died, and he didn't know how long it would take for these elites to be replenished. Moreover, an undying demon had died in their frozen territory. This was an unprecedented loss. Scorched Earth Hell might have 300 undying demons, but the problem was that they were divided into 13 territories, and each territory had at most 20 undying demons. The death of even one was a huge loss, enough to infuriate the lords and cause them to start a war. Interesting. Then I don't need to run anymore. I'll just wait here for your lords to arrive. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. Originally, he wanted to go to the enemy's base to look for the two ancient demons. But now that the two ancient demons were enraged, there was no need to go there. Wouldn't it be better to just wait for the heir to come to them? After all, if he really went to the enemy's base, there might be some special means. If he wasn't careful, he might fail miserably and suffer losses. So, he might as well stay here and wait for the two ancient demons to arrive. What? Hearing this, the two undying lava demons and frost demons couldn't help but shiver. How could this guy be so arrogant? He clearly heard that the ancient demons were coming, but he didn't run away in fear. Instead, he stayed where he was. If this guy wasn't hopelessly stupid, then he had absolute confidence in himself, thinking that he could kill two ancient demons at the same time. But how could he do that? It was simply impossible. Since ancient times, the 13 lords, 13 ancient demons, had ruled scorched earth hell for who knew how many years. Who knew how many demons had died during that time. But these 13 ancient demons were still high above them and no one could shake them. To them the lords were like gods. They couldn't be killed. But thinking about what just happened, the two undying demons couldn't help but shiver. They felt deep fear. What if the other party really had the strength to do something like that? If he really could do it, then the entire scorched earth hell would change. Do you want to eat? Luna. Thinking up to here, Xiaoping ignored the two undying demons and turned to Luna. Yeah, I think I'm a little hungry. Luna rubbed her flat stomach and blinked her beautiful eyes. Then let's eat. We'll fight when we're full. Xiaoping nodded. He immediately took out all kinds of food from the pearl of mountain and river. There were golden corn, crystal rice, and other spirit plants, as well as large amounts of various types of wild beast meat. Right now, the pearl of mountain and river had become a wild world. Too many delicious foods were planted here and resources were abundant. It was easy to get any kind of food. Damn. The two immortal fiend devils gaped in disbelief. Faced with the wrath of two fiend devils from the ancient era, these two didn't run away but instead they were cooking. What kind of joke was this? They were looking down on the fiend devils too much. Who did they think the leaders of the scorched lands were? How could they be so arrogant? No, this wasn't right. What was up with these ingredients? Why did they smell so good? They had never smelled anything like this in scorched earth hell. Their stomachs couldn't help but bulge as they smelled the aroma coming from Xiaoping in Luna's direction. With a swoosh, a black talisman passed through billions of miles of space and finally arrived at Lava City. This was the base of the lava demons. Chapter 23-23. Lava City. Soon Vader, the city lord of Lava City, reached the near ancient demon realm. He was soaking in a hot spring in the center of the city. This wasn't an ordinary hot spring, but a huge lake formed from the lava of hell. Ordinary creatures of hell would be burned to ashes if they fell in. However, as the leader of the lava demons, Vader, who had reached the near ancient realm, did not care about it at all. It was no different from a hot spring. Furthermore, he could constantly devour the lava here to strengthen the origin energy of hell in his body. Whoosh! Just at this moment, a black talisman pierced through the void and arrived. It was caught by the ancient demon Vader. What? This is a distress talisman? A cold glint flashed in the eyes of the ancient demon Vader, and a solemn expression appeared on his face. Very quickly he received all the distress signals from the talisman. Immediately he became furious. Damn it! Damn Fengdu demon! How dare you! How dare you! Where did this trash demon come from? The archaic demon Vader bellowed. How dare you destroy the elite demons of my lava city and even kill two of my immortal generals? You're courting death, courting death. Rumble, a terrifying aura erupted from its body, causing the entire lava city to tremble. It was as if a magnitude 9 earthquake had occurred. Everything within a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers was trembling, and even space itself was creaking as if it was about to shatter. A terrifying stream of lava shot into the sky, piercing through thousands of kilometers. Then it turned into a rain of lava and poured down on the ground, burning huge pits in the ground. All the lava demons could feel the fury of their lord. It seemed like it could engulf everything. Such fury could completely burn the void for hundreds of millions of kilometers. Damn it! Vader gritted his teeth. He clearly remembered that he had sent an army to the Scarlet Plains this morning to fight against the Frost demons. They wanted to fight for control of the plains and increase the territory of the lava demons. This wasn't a big deal. For the demons of scorched earth hell, this was just a daily activity. He didn't expect his generals to succeed immediately. This was a relatively long war that might last hundreds or even thousands of years before a winner was decided. As an ancient demon with an unlimited lifespan, he was usually very patient. However, such an ordinary battle actually caused his two undying generals to send an urgent distress signal, saying that two mysterious demons had interfered in this battle. There was already an undying lava demon that died under the other party's hands, and even it was in imminent danger. It might not be able to hold on for long before it was killed. Provocation. Without a doubt, this was a blatant act of provocation. This was a slap to the face of the lava overlord and trampling on the dignity of the lava demon race. It was a great humiliation that could not be washed away. Although he didn't know where this so-called demon Fengdu came from and what kind of demon faction he belonged to, there was no doubt that his actions had crossed the line of the ancient demon Vader. My lord. So sounds could be heard as undying lava demons flew over from the distance. There were 20 of them, and they immediately prostrated at the entrance of the hot spring, expressing their respect. They didn't know why their overlord was so angry, but they knew that something big must have happened. Otherwise, the Molten Lord wouldn't be so angry. They all quickly came over to understand the situation. There's a bastard demon who killed my immortal general and humiliated the dignity of the lava demons. I want him to die without a burial. The ancient demon Vader roared angrily, "Follow me to battle and slaughter that bastard." Yes. The undying lava demons all shouted. They were shocked and also understood why their lord was so angry. An undying demon had actually been killed. This was something that hadn't happened in tens of thousands of years. It could be said to be earth-shattering. Scorched Earth Hell hadn't had a fierce battle in a very long time. Moreover, as undying demons, their survival abilities were too strong. They wouldn't be easily killed. But now, an undying demon from Molten City had actually been killed. This was too inconceivable. One could also completely imagine why their lord was so angry and wanted to kill the murderer. They weren't afraid of this mysterious enemy, because in the Scorched Earth Hell, ancient demons were the strongest demons. They could be said to be invincible. No demon could kill such an existence. Even among ancient demons there were strong and weak ones. But at most they had the upper hand in battle. Killing each other was something that hadn't been possible for millions of years. The 13 ancient demons had run amok in the Scorched Earth Hell for far, far too long. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Under the Lord's command, the demon army moved out. However, in order to chase after the enemy, only 20 ancient demons were mobilized. Archaic Demon Vader also moved out. They used their extreme speed and flew towards the Blood Plains. On the other hand, in the Frost Demon's territory, Lord Osborne also received the Undying Frost Demon's distress signal. Although he wasn't as hot-tempered as the Lava Demons, he was indeed thoroughly angered by this matter. Demon Fengdu, where did this demon come from? To be able to kill an undying demon, this strength is extraordinary. He can't be a nobody, but why haven't I heard of him before? Ancient Demon Osborne's white eyes flashed with a hint of coldness. He was extremely wary of Fengdu because to kill an undying demon, one needed to be extremely powerful. At the very least, one needed to reach the archaic demon level. Of course, even if one didn't reach the archaic demon level with some special methods, an undying demon could still kill a demon of the same level. However, these methods were extremely rare and harsh. No matter what, Demon Fengdu was an extremely difficult opponent. It wouldn't be that easy to kill. But that Fengdu is too arrogant. Not only did he kill an undying demon of my Frost Demon race, but he also killed an undying demon of the Lava Demon race. He's offending two great forces at once. Why would he do such a thing, and what benefits does he get from doing so? Ancient Demon Osborne thought deeply, suspecting that there was some conspiracy against his Frost Demon race. Forget it, there's no point thinking about it now. That guy killed an undying demon of the Lava Demon race. With Vader's simple mind, he must be enraged. Maybe he's already charging towards the Blood Plains. Ancient Demon Osborne clenched his fist. With two ancient demons present, no matter what ability Fengdu has, he won't be able to escape death. Forget it, let's see what this guy is plotting. Thinking of this, he immediately took action. He gathered his many undying demons and moved together towards the Blood Plains. At this time, the Frost Demons also moved with great momentum. Chapter 23-24. After a while in the Scarlet Plains. They're here, Lord, they're here. The two immortal demons caught by Xia Ping woke up immediately. They were overjoyed. They clearly sensed tens of powerful Kais flying over from the east and west. With such a powerful aura, it was definitely a demon that had ascended to the near-ancient realm. In fact, it wasn't just one ancient demon that appeared, but two. Moreover, there were tens of undyings from both races. It could be said that they came out in full force. One could imagine the rage of their lord. He would definitely kill this arrogant brat to scare the monkeys. The two immortal demons were proud and wanted to see this brat's frightened face. They glanced at him and almost puked blood. This brat didn't move at all. It was as if he just finished dinner. He tidied up all the utensils. Luna also wiped her mouth and burped. She looked satisfied. Apparently the dinner just now was delicious. This attitude was as if she wasn't facing the two demons, but a bunch of ordinary people. Pretend, keep pretending. When the Lord arrives, let's see how you two die. The two immortal demons gritted their teeth and cursed in their minds. Of course, they didn't dare to curse in front of him. If they made him unhappy, he might kill them instantly. It was better to wait for the Lord to arrive and teach these two a lesson. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In a few breaths' time, the immortal demons of the Ice Demon race and the Lava Demon race had arrived above the Blood Plains. Two ancient demons, Overlord-level existences, were also flying over from both sides. They emitted a terrifying aura that engulfed the entire Blood Plains, shaking the void. It was as if the space within millions of miles was trembling, shivering, and crackling. This power was suffocating. The two immortal demons felt this Kai's and knelt down in fear. This was a high-level demon they couldn't fight against. It was also the most terrifying overlord demon of scorched earth. You're Fengdu. Vader stood in the air and looked down at Xiaoping. From the help talisman he got before, he knew the appearance and Kai's of the one who killed the magma demon soldiers. Clearly this person was the killer of his immortal general. You killed a general of my molten demon race, yet you dare to stay here instead of fleeing. Your guts are boundless. Who gave you such guts? The ancient demon Vader's face darkened. He immediately sensed that Xiaoping's strength was only at the pinnacle of the sempiternal realm at most, an entire realm lower than himself. However, such a peak of immortal realm devil didn't run away even though he knew a devil from the ancient era was coming. Quite the contrary, he stayed at his spot as if he was waiting for him. It felt that this demon was too arrogant, not worried about its own safety at all. Did it think it couldn't kill this immortal demon? Instantly, a belly full of anger gushed out from the depths of its body. It was furious. A mere sempiternal realm pinnacle demon actually dares to act so arrogantly? Just what is he plotting? Osborne narrowed his eyes and became even more cautious, as if he was trying to see through Xiaoping from top to bottom. But in a short period of time, it couldn't see anything. Fleeing to escape punishment? Hearing this, Xiaoping laughed. A mere ancient demon is nothing. Do you think you can do anything to me with your strength? You're looking at the sky from the bottom of a well. I purposely stayed here for one thing, and that is to subdue you. I hope you can put down your butcher's knife and become a Buddha on the spot. I hope you can stop slaughtering and committing grave crimes. He put on a pitiful expression. Subdue us? Are you crazy or are we crazy? Hearing this, Vader seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world. A mere immortal demon like you wants to subdue an ancient demon? Who gave you the courage to do so? I'm dying of laughter. You've lost your mind. Do you know how powerful Lord Vader is? Killing you is easier than killing an ant. You still dare to be so arrogant here? You have no idea how much you've courted death. Overlord, don't waste your breath on him. Kill him immediately and make him pay with his life. The immortal demons of the lava race roared in anger. They glared at Xiaoping with murderous intent. Osborne, although we have our differences, this bastard is too arrogant. He killed 2 of our undying generals and countless elites. This is a crime punishable by death. The ancient demon Vader looked at Osborne. You won't stop me, will you? Of course not. This demon also killed my generals. This is a blood feud that cannot be forgiven. I'm also here to kill this demon. I definitely won't stop you, Osborne said. Osborne was very magnanimous. Since this brute had taken the initiative to deal with this strange demon, he naturally wouldn't stop him. He could also take the opportunity to observe what Fengdu was capable of. If the demon Fengdu was killed by Vader just like that, then there was nothing to be afraid of. But if Vader suffered a great loss, he would be able to see some of this kid's background. As long as he didn't fail miserably in a simple task, there was no harm in doing so. That's good. I'll talk to you after I kill this demon. I can't stand this kid for even a second. He dares to be so arrogant in front of an ancient demon. He doesn't know how to write the word death. The ancient demon Vader bellowed angrily. Boom. In the blink of an eye he attacked. With a swipe of his hand, the void around him was torn apart. The surrounding space was like a piece of paper, unable to withstand his claws. With a whoosh, the void within a radius of 10 million kilometers was immediately torn into thousands of cracks that looked like long rivers. Every spatial river was surging with violent magma energy. This lava seemed to come from the depths of hell. It formed a river of lava that was incomparably heavy. It rumbled as it rushed towards Xiaoping. So strong. This is an ancient demon. The immortal demons saw this and shivered, their hair standing on end. Because scorched earth rarely saw ancient demons in action, they didn't have many chances to see their lords in action. They didn't know how powerful ancient demons were. But this attack immediately shattered all the immortal demons' hopes. Although peak immortal demons and early near ancient demons were only one level apart, the difference was like the difference between heaven and earth, like the difference between an ant and an elephant. It was just a single move, yet it tore through the void, displaying a berserk energy. This type of energy could easily kill an undying devil. It was extremely violent and domineering. Chapter 23-25. So strong. Is this an ancient demon? Its power is unimaginable. It really is boundlessly terrifying. Even us undying fiends would be beaten half to death in an instant. Even undying bodies wouldn't be able to block it. That's right. It's just one attack and it has the power to shatter mountains and tear the void. Ancient demons are so terrifying. No wonder His Excellency could run amok in scorched hell for billions of years. The power of ancient demons is too terrifying. It didn't matter if it was the lava demons or the ice demons, their hairs all stood on end. Their hearts were trembling in fear. They compared their strength. Facing such an attack, they probably couldn't stop it. Even if he had an undying body possessing extremely powerful recovery ability, he might still be beaten half to death within a few moves, turning into scattered ashes, no longer existing. A few undying fiends with ulterior motives saw this and immediately gave up on their little schemes. No matter how many schemes they had, they would be useless against an ancient fiend. This was the absolute difference in power. Small schemes couldn't stop it. But just as this power struck Xia Ping, the demons felt the void within a radius of billions of miles tremble violently. They saw a huge dark golden bell emerge from Xia Ping's body. It was like a god had awakened from the void, emitting a powerful aura. Immediately, this dark golden bell floated above Xia Ping's head. At the same time, it bloomed a dark golden light curtain. It was like a giant umbrella that covered 1,000,000 kilometers. Dong dong dong. Thousands of lava rivers bombarded down, producing a world-destroying aura that seemed to be able to tear apart the void. However, when they bombarded the giant energy umbrella, they did not move at all. No power was able to penetrate this energy barrier, and it was easily blocked. Impossible. That's an attack that can tear the void. Even dozens of peak of Immortal Realm devils would be wounded badly. But now it's blocked so easily. He's not hurt at all. Is this a joke? Some immortal demons were scared to death. They couldn't believe their eyes. Treasure, it's this treasure. The dark golden bell stopped His Excellency's attack and protected him well. All the attacks turned into nothingness. What kind of treasure is this? How is it able to block an all-out attack from an ancient fiend? I've never even heard of such a powerful treasure appearing in hell. There are. Although it's rare in the infernal scorched lands, it's said that in some of the more powerful hell planes, powerful fiend devils can forge hellish treasures that allow fiend devils to unleash hundreds or even thousands of times their original power. They can even challenge opponents of a higher level. Could it be that this dark golden bell is the legendary hell treasure? The immortal fiends were shocked, their eyes filled with greed. If such a treasure fell into their hands, wouldn't it mean that they could easily fight against the ancient fiends? Instantly they were all tempted. Could it be that the reason this kid was able to kill an immortal fiend devil was because of this hell magic treasure? Osborne, the ancient demon, felt that he had made the right decision not to make a move for the time being. Now he felt that he had finally seen through his opponent's trump card. It turned out to be this mysterious and powerful hell artifact. A greedy glint appeared in its eyes. A mere immortal fiend could fight against an archaic fiend with this hell treasure and block its attacks. If this magic treasure fell into his hands, wouldn't its strength skyrocket to the heavens? He might even become the strongest fiend devil in the infernal scorched lands and unify all of it. Brat, to have such a treasure. No wonder you're so arrogant. But you're just a puny immortal fiend. So what if you have a powerful treasure? You're no match for me, Vader. Now hand over your life and your magical treasures. They belong to me, the ancient demon Vader. Vader, the ancient demon, was tempted. He wanted nothing more than to snatch the bell and make it his own. It would definitely greatly increase his combat ability and allow him to defeat all other fiend devils. You want to take my treasure? You really don't know how you died. Ring Bell of Chaos. Xia Ping circulated his magic power and poured it into his natal treasure, the Bell of Chaos. In an instant, the Bell of Chaos trembled, swaying from side to side and humming. Waves of gray light rippled from its body, spreading out to a radius of billions of kilometers. Peerless divine ability, soulless light. Boom. Rays of gray light swept out, affecting the surrounding area. Bang bang bang. Immediately, all the fiend devils present, including the ancient demons, felt the attack. It was like a heavy hammer hammering into the depths of their souls. This kind of gray light was too terrifying. It completely ignored their physical defenses and directly reached their bodies, touching the depths of their souls. Ah! Some of the weaker immortal fiends immediately screamed. They were hit by the gray divine light, which seemed to contain the power of laws. Their souls were instantly shattered into pieces. More than 10 immortal fiends died on the spot. Even the ancient demons Vader and Osborne, whose soul power was more than 1,000 times stronger than the immortal demons, were of no help to the situation. With a bang, their souls were shaken to the point of being dizzy, and they fell into a temporary state of unconsciousness. The power of the Bell of Chaos, a high-grade holy treasure, was much more terrifying than before. Even the ancient demons couldn't resist the power of the soulless light. Kill? Xiaoping suddenly attacked. He punched out, and it was as if an ancient divine beast had come into being. The punch landed on the ancient demon Vader. Boom. The ancient demon Vader didn't know what was going on. His body took a solid hit and was immediately shaken into pieces, turning into powder on the spot. Immediately, a large amount of molten lava burst out in midair and spread out in all directions. It simply shattered everything within a radius of 1,000,000 kilometers. Potholes were smashed everywhere and turned into countless caves. At the same time, his soul couldn't withstand the power of the punch and was shaken into powder on the spot. The ancient demon Vader was dead. With a single punch, the ancient demon Vader was beaten to death. He couldn't resist at all. With a whoosh, Xiaoping grabbed the corpse of the ancient demon Vader, and it was devoured by the World Tree. This was a precious resource that contained a large amount of energy. It could be refined into spatial fruits. He couldn't let it go to waste like this. What? At this time, Osborne, the ancient demon, finally regained a trace of consciousness. He also saw the scene of Vader being punched to death. He was so scared that his guts were about to explode. He did not know what had happened. Chapter 23-26. Run. Run. I'll die if I don't run. I'll die. Osborne, the ancient demon, felt an unprecedented fear. Ever since he ascended to the ancient demon realm and became the lord of a region, there was nothing that could scare him. Although there were many lords of the ancient demon realm who were stronger than him, it was still impossible for them to kill an ancient demon of the same level. He thought that as long as he didn't seek death, no demon in the scorched hell could kill him. However, when it saw Vader beaten to death with a single punch, it completely changed its mind. Even an ancient demon like Vader was killed. As an ancient demon, there was no way he could escape. If he could kill Vader, he could kill him too. This was a very simple reasoning. Although he didn't know what happened because of the dizziness, his instinct as an ancient demon warned him that he couldn't stay. He had to run. But before it could make a move to escape, it suddenly saw the dark golden giant bell shake again, and another gray light swept down. Whoosh. In the next second it didn't know what happened. It only knew that the gray light directly bombarded its soul and instantly penetrated its body. No, no, no. Out of instinct, Osborne screamed. As an ancient demon, a high and mighty lord, he couldn't die like this. He struggled and tried to escape, but it was too late. Dong. The sound of a bell rang like the morning bell and evening drum. The void within a radius of millions of kilometers vibrated back and forth, penetrating countless layers of space. It was like the first sound of the beginning of chaos. With a crack, the ancient demon Osborne's soul was shattered. Ancient demon Osborne dead. This. Impossible. Our lord is an ancient demon. How could he die like this? Are you kidding me? How could such a ridiculous thing happen? The undying fiend devils were dumbfounded. Even if you beat them to death, they would never have thought that the invincible fiend devils of the scorched earth hell would be killed by Fengdu. First it was the ancient demon Vader, then Osborne. Osborne, the ancient demon, was the most wronged. He had been cautious and careful enough not to act rashly, carefully observing his opponent and looking for flaws. He had done almost nothing wrong, displaying the demeanor of a cunning demon. But it still died. There was no other reason other than the fact that he was too weak and couldn't withstand the power of the mysterious Fengdu. In just a few moves, his soul was shattered and he couldn't even struggle. Do you want to live or die? Xiaoping looked down from above, indifferently looking at the remaining 20-something immortal fiends. A terrifying pressure emanated from his body, as if he was a supreme demon god that had existed since ancient times. Immediately, these undying fiends felt the suppression of their bloodlines. This was a fundamental difference. They were all suppressed to the point of prostrating, not daring to look straight at him. "Wanna live? Of course we wanna live." One by one, the undying demons submitted, all of them prostrating on the ground. Although Osborne and Vader were their lords, this was the rule of hell. The strong were respected, and the weak were prey to the strong. They had no concept of loyalty. As long as their leader was defeated, they would naturally submit to the one who defeated their leader. This was the rule of hell. Therefore they were willing to submit to Xiaoping. Very well, then lower your soul defenses and accept my spiritual imprint. Xia Ping activated his golden crow of hell bloodline and immediately used his mystique, infernal god-fiend curse. In the blink of an eye, one dark golden talisman after another condensed in mid-air. Every dark golden talisman seemed to contain a drop of noble demon god's blood. They emitted an unparalleled pressure like the ruler of hell. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. These dark golden talismans quickly reached the foreheads of the undying demons. They instinctively sensed the strange power of these dark golden talismans. Once they seeped into their bodies, their life and death would be out of their control. Some undying demons instinctively wanted to resist, sensing great danger. Resist? Do you want to die? Xia Ping's eyes were cold as he stared at the undying demons. A powerful killing intent emanated from his body. As long as these undying demons showed any signs of resistance, he would immediately kill them. No, no, no. Sensing this killing intent, the undying demons shook their heads. When they saw the dozen or so undying demons and the two archaic demons that were already dead, their will to resist immediately disappeared. If they refused, they would die now. But if they agreed, they might die later or they might not die. The choice was obvious at a glance. Walala, without any resistance, the infernal deity devil curse sank into the bodies of the undying fiend devils and into their souls. It was like a seed that sprouted in the depths of their souls, turning into a huge tree, its roots reaching out to every corner of their souls, completely fusing with them. Vaguely, a dark golden swastika symbol appeared on their foreheads, emitting a noble and mysterious aura that was unfathomable. Success. Xia Ping was very satisfied. He could sense that the infernal god-fiend curse had complete control over these undying demons. If these undying demons dared to betray him, he only needed a thought to turn their souls into nothingness. They wouldn't be able to resist even if they fled to the ends of hell. With these 20 undying demons as his subordinates, the burning hell's power would probably increase. To him now, refining these undying demons into undying fruits was no longer important. Undying fruits weren't that helpful to his cultivation, so it didn't matter if he killed them or not. On the contrary, having these undying demons as his subordinates would be of great help to him. If he could unify the undying fiend devils and conquer the infernal realm and plunder more of the infernal realm's essence, he would grow even faster. For this reason, he didn't want to kill these undying demons. Otherwise, these undying demons would have died long ago. The undying demons all had looks of despair. They regretted it so much that their intestines turned green. If they knew that the talisman was so terrifying, they definitely wouldn't have agreed. But it was too late to refuse now. All of them could only admit this fact because what was done could not be undone. It was impossible for them to go back on their words. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.